Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is April 24th, 2024. 4/24.
Right.
24. I don't know. I don't know that. Well, it's 2024, but whatever.
Yes. Yeah. It is. It's man, it's almost May too. It's like the crazy thing.
Yeah, this month's just, I don't know, this year's just flying by. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I'm against it. But we recently had a good holiday. We had 420.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Woo!
We of course
birthday. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That out of the way before we talk about everything.
Right. Right. Okay.
So 420 was what was it? Sunday? No, Saturday.
Yeah, 420 was Saturday.
So it's the weed holiday or whatever. But the other thing is it's Hitler's birthday. And I made a drawing years ago of Hitler with a smoking gun next to him and half his face blown off. And it says happy the guts in his brain, whatever form the words happy 420, and his eyeballs are kind of floating at the top part of it.
It's pretty funny.
Half of his skull. It's a popular drawing. And I always would post it on Instagram. And for every year it would always get yanked. It always got yanked. And I was like, this is bullshit. Because I
must have been
posting all kinds of Hitler shit on Instagram. And that I would always post it on Twitter though, safely. Always. Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk is a free speech absolutist.
Not so really.
You must have what? Really I was going to say you must have been overjoyed when Elon Musk declared Twitter a free speech zone.
It used to be
because
I used to post it all the time and I never got dinged. And then this year I got dinged. I wrote follow your leader or something like that. And which is, funny way to say go fucking blow your brains out like Hitler did. But follow your leader or whatever. I said that people who pay Elon Musk money for a blue check mark are not gonna like this.
Yeah.
And
they didn't.
No, it got dinged and I was removed. I couldn't use Twitter for 12 hours. And I couldn't believe it. It was like the first time ever. You posted it on a YSGOAT Twitter account. And that was fine. I had one of the guys that I do stuff with, he reposted it, so it got some numbers, but I don't even know what mine were at before it got dinged. I wasn't even looking. And then all of a sudden it's like, this post was removed because it's suicide or something. I'm like, it's Hitler.
It's Hitler.
Like, who gives a shit? I can't stand it. It's like, it drives me nuts that I can't post this drawing anywhere. Yeah. I won't dare post it on Instagram and I won't post it on, I don't think TikTok would be good either, but TikTok's, I think, pretty strict in general about what you put on there.
I think TikTok, and I'll say this, I don't say they do a good job, but TikTok is at least kind of aware, I think I was looking at a video, remember the old rock band Suicide, the kind of art punk band? I was looking at these kind of old music videos and a Suicide video came up and there's big warning labels all over it. And the guy talked in the comments about how TikTok kept taking it down. And I can appreciate that to some extent, especially given that TikTok appeals mostly to real young kids. I don't know anyone under 30 who's on Twitter, really. I mean,
so, Twitter. I mean, I won't even post it on Threads either, because the thing I can't stand about Threads, I don't like how it's tied to your Instagram account.
Yeah.
If they want that thing to be successful, it should exist on its own. They want to do this thing in the beginning. They did it to drive. They did it to drive volume, like followers, by saying, hey, if you're on Instagram, you could go start your account and then there'll be a thing there and people who follow you on Instagram will then follow you on Threads. But I feel like now that Threads has been around for pretty much almost a year now, they need to make it separate. Like when I lost my account on Instagram, I also lost my account on Threads. I had like 5,000 followers on Threads at the
Oh,
time.
weird. Yeah.
Well, because I had like 90,000 followers on Instagram, so people followed me from there. So it makes sense that it was very easy for me to get a decent number going early on.
Right.
Uh, but like I said, when I lost my Instagram account, I lost my Threads account, and I was like, that's bullshit. Like that should be its
Separate.
own thing.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time taking it seriously as a platform because it is so tied to your Instagram account. So if you get something removed on Threads, it will hurt your Instagram account and vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't like posting anything now on there. Unless it's just my artwork or something that
Right.
doesn't
Right.
have to do with Hitler blowing his brains out. But
It
I
is
couldn't
weird
believe
because
it.
it's
This is
like,
the first year that Twitter dinged one of my artwork, and I was just like blown away by it. I was like, these fucking Nazis, man.
you
There
know,
was so much pro Hitler shit
well, that's the
on
thing.
Twitter that day. It was gross.
The two things that really kind of struck me about it, like on a serious note, were one is that like it is like a pretty comical drawing. It's like certainly not like I mean it's graphic, but it's like not realistic graphic.
Cartoony. It's like a
It's
skater. It's
cartoony.
like skater art.
It's like if you saw like Wile E. Coyote with that goodbye cruel world sign, or whatever. I mean, like that's also like a reference to suicide, but like I would
Yeah, but
never
that's way
imagine
more cartoonier, and he's covered in
it's
like
true. Yeah.
black. I mean, this one is bloody and
It's a little gruesome.
it's a
But the
little
other thing
gruesome, but
was
it's
like there's so much worse shit on Twitter constantly. And it was just like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna take down the anti-Hitler stuff, but we're gonna leave up all the pro-Hitler stuff. That's just
did you
geez, I
see
mean,
Alex Jones posted something like anti-Hitler thing that day, and all these people came out and attacked him and stuff, and I was
no, I
like, yeah,
didn't.
Alex Jones doesn't know who his audience is.
Right, yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't know who he's been catering to. It's like he knows all the dog whistles. He says them all the time. He says all
Yeah.
kinds of anti-Semitic shit all the time. He knows that he has a bunch of Nazis following him. I just think it's hysterical how he forgot. He thought he get something easy going and post like a anti Hitler thing, and it backfired.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
speaking of backfiring, we'll talk about this before we get into
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
It's also the anniversary of Tucker Carlson getting fired.
Yes.
A year
Yeah.
ago, he was fired from Fox News. Shortly announced his brand deal with X or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, I remember I posted that drawing of him crying and he has like a swastika engraved in his head.
Yeah.
And I remember all these dipshits were like, he's gonna be even bigger, he's gonna have a bigger audience.
Yes.
And I was like, no, he isn't. He's not going to be on Fox. He is not
Right.
going to have a bigger audience. He's going to become more right, even further to the right, more, and his following will become narrow. He will narrowcast. He'll appeal to the extreme right wing, but he's not going to retain his Fox News audience, or at least not the whole thing.
Right. And that did turn out to be the case. A lot of people kind of uh, said that. Even Tucker said, I think he said, if you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can
Did he really
possibly.
say that?
He did. I have like kind of a hazy
He said an
recollection of it.
Obi-Wan thing.
He
He
was
made a
wearing a brown robe at the time.
yeah,
Oh no, that was Obi-Wan. My bad.
yeah.
But even Tucker was like, I'm gonna be bigger than ever, and the guy's like vanished. He got Glenn Becked. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
same
Glenn Beck like started his own
the
media
Blaze.
thing, and I would say that thing is not that successful.
No,
I mean, it gets
that sounds like a
mentioned.
company that should have been celebrating 420.
The Blaze,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 and or Pride Month. And these are. But let me tell you, this guy, yeah, Glenn Beck definitely has been completely marginalized in that.
Well, and so is Tucker Carlson, really.
Yeah, but Tucker also I think is even worse because I think with the Blaze, at least like when I don't know if Glenn Beck was fired or he left or whatever deal he had with Fox, and he was able to kind of do his own thing. Tucker Carlson got fired from
Yeah.
Fox, and I think he couldn't start like a network. He had to like do some bullshit Twitter live thing.
Well,
And
I think that's what sabotaged his Twitter thing is that all of this was happening in the context of Fox cut Tucker Carlson loose because they didn't want to get sued into oblivion. because
Right.
Tucker Carlson kept spouting these election lies over and over again, and people were losing their shirts. And so then Elon Musk says you can have a show on, you can come to Twitter and talk, and then Tucker's like, oh well, me and Elon are, and Elon's like, well, wait, we're not like partners on this per se. You can just start a Twitter account and talk like anyone else. And then that kind of like
I mean, he promotes them.
he does, but he made it real clear, like, look, I'm not going to join you in legal culpability for the stuff
Yeah,
you
he's
say.
kind of like into. I mean, I guess that's kind of what Don Lemon was. Well, no, Don Lemon was supposed to get paid by Musk. I think Musk does pay Tucker Carlson.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. Yeah, I assumed it was just from revenue,
I
advertising
don't know.
revenue.
I'm not 100% sure, but
Well,
and let's see. We'll move on real quick. I don't want to talk too much about it. It's just funny. He is a prick. It's funny to see him get fired and kind of just floundering and lose. Like I said, I knew that what would happen is that
yeah,
he would just become more hard right, more extreme,
yeah.
and he would not appeal. He would appeal only to like online Nazis. Like he would not.
That's the thing that Fox, if you're over 65 and you have a television, it comes pre-programmed with Fox as the starting channel or
Yep.
something. I'm convinced.
No, it's
Uh,
not. I mean, you're the smallest cable package. Fox is like the only one that comes with it.
yeah.
You have to actually
So
pay more to get MSNBC and all those other channels.
yeah, and if you go into a car dealership or whatever, it's
It's
always
always fucking on. I remember one time waiting in a waiting room at the car dealership, and it was on, and this other guy was there, and I said, "I'm turning this shit off," and he was like, "Thank you." I'm like, it was like watching like a whole nother reality. I
yeah.
couldn't. I had it on for like an hour, and I was like,
Well, that's what
"People
made
make anyone insane."
That's what made Tucker Carlson so influential, is because he was talking to these, like, he was talking to really impressionable people, like, often, daily, and now if he's on Twitter, like the 70-year-old isn't gonna like try to track down his grok.
No, they're just gonna
I
watch
mean,
the next shitty.
yeah,
They're just gonna watch the next chud that
now it's
Fox puts
Jesse
on.
Waters.
Yeah, Jesse Waters looks like evil Greg Brady.
Yeah, it is. It's just whatever Fox feeds them, that's what they're going to go into. And that's why, like, Tucker Carlson really,
So
he
let's see
lost
real
he
quick.
lost out.
What has Tucker Carlson done this past year?
He went to
Um,
Russia.
he went well. He interviewed a guy who was already disproven decades ago, who claimed he slept with
Oh
Obama and that
yeah.
he was and he's a crackhead. This disproven conspiracy liar.
Yep.
And then not a couple months ago, he went to Russia and basically did propaganda for Putin.
Yeah.
Putin kissed their asses, kissed Putin's ass. Went to a supermarket and
Yeah, it's
clearly never been to
embarrassing.
a supermarket before and put out what was possibly the most pathetic, embarrassing video. I mean, all he's proven that he's literally a traitor. Like
Yeah.
you see him groveling to a foreign dictator who does not have America's best interests at heart.
Didn't even have
And
Tucker Carlson's best interest at heart. He was making fun of Tucker Carlson as the
as he should
interviewer.
have. Yeah, he was definitely negging him the entire time.
Yeah.
Basically, like made fun of him for like not I don't know, like I guess he applied for the CIA or something.
Something like that. Yeah, like you're
Yeah.
you're lucky not to have gotten in or
I mean, again, I'm happy that I mean, I don't care if I was proven right or wrong. I just knew that's what was gonna happen, is that he has no effect, and it's
yeah.
just funnier to you later, and next year no one's gonna even give a fuck. And he's
Right.
just gonna like, he'll pop up here and there because he'll interview someone stupid, or he'll
Yeah.
say something stupid, and he'll end up like in our circle of information we see out there, someone will bring it
Yeah.
up, but I think that's gonna be far and few between. I think his reach is gone.
I think so too. I think that's same. You've seen it over and over again. Bill O'Reilly, Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson. Once they lose that Fox slot, they're they're really marginalized
And
because
I think
Fox
O'Reilly
is,
was the biggest
yeah.
out of all those. O'Reilly was huge, but that's the thing that's funny about this whole right wing media is that people don't realize like it is incredibly competitive. Like Candace
Oh yeah.
Owens got fired recently from Daily Wire.
Yep.
Um, there'll be someone that will take her place immediately.
Yeah.
There's always another chud.
Oh yeah. and it's so easy. It's real easy. I mean, like you don't even need a script.
They're
I mean,
not
all you have to
saying
do is,
anything. They're just
yeah,
repeating the same bullshit talking points that are provided to them by whatever
yeah,
fracking companies paying them, whatever
yeah,
church or billionaire or Fox News newsletter they get. It's a very competitive market, and they're all out to kill each other.
yeah,
I think what's
yeah.
funny too, real quick, remember like I think even the Daily Wire, we used to be like, where are they getting all this fucking money for this shit? They make these stupid movies and like
Hmm.
who the fuck is even watching this shit? People actually streaming the Daily Wire Plus. And then I've been finding out they're hemorrhaging money. This shit
Oh
is
yeah,
only gonna let I mean, it's only you can only milk the the anti-trans bigotry so much to the point, especially
yeah.
when there's so many other people doing it on YouTube and stuff that there's no value. It's yeah,
Well, and each year that passes by, the market for that gets fewer and fewer. You know,
yeah.
it just does. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's made a remarkable resurgence lately, but anyway.
All right. Well, before we get into what were we gonna talk about, Joseph? Besides, we just got the Tucker and the 420 thing out of the way, but what's the rest of the stuff we're gonna talk
All
about?
right, so we're gonna talk about the new Deadpool Wolverine trailer,
Yeah.
the latest episode of X-Men 97, and then Rebel Moon 2, The Scar Giver,
Oh
which was
fucker.
I think it was a film. I'm not sure. I don't remember much about it. It
I think it was a documentary about farming in the
it
fucking during the
was
freaking
during
Dust
the
Bowl
Dust
years.
Bowl. Yeah, it was like all the gray and brown,
Yeah.
busted out the shit palette and went to town with it. So
Bust
we're
out the
talking
diaper,
about
baby diaper palette.
we're talking about that. We're talking about a few kind of like weird laws that have not weird, but like laws that have passed. The TikTok ban, some rules regarding overtime, some rules regarding whether or not you're reimbursed when airlines cancel your flight, some rules regarding non-compete clauses in contracts. So those are some big things that have happened over the last week or so that probably very few people heard about because
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
there's so much
we're
going
gonna
on.
talk about it.
Yep. Then we're going to talk about Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. I don't want to
uh,
spoil it. It's ridiculous.
and then some Trump stuff. He has a big Supreme Court hearing tomorrow morning. He's on trial currently in New York for felony charges. A bunch of stuff happened in Arizona and before that Michigan, where fake electors have been indicted.
Yeah, like 11, right?
Yeah, and Trump's an unindicted co-conspirator in the Arizona one. Um, but it's big. The Arizona one got some big names, big marquee names.
Good.
Uh, yeah,
All the
and then
chuds.
we're going to talk about these are all kind of tied together. The protests that have been going on regarding Israel and Gaza. Um, we talk about that. We got several items there, and then there's some state level bills in Tennessee. They want to arm teachers with weapons, and they also want the right to marry their cousins. We're
Sounds
gonna
about right.
talk about Mississippi. There's a governor who I think his first name is Tate.
Hmm?
Uh, Tate. He declared it Confederate Pride Month.
Of course he did.
Um, Missouri is thinking about starting a law where they'll put teachers in jail if they use pronouns.
Yeah,
Um,
if a kid says like they recognize themselves as he, him,
yeah,
they, them, or she, her, and they're trans or whatever, non-binary, that teacher, if they recognize that we'll talk about it.
yeah.
It's
I don't think they
absolutely
know how
insane.
pronouns work. All the
Yeah, everything about it is insane. It's a just totally dysfunctional rule.
yep. We're talking about Ken Paxton tried to sue a Washington hospital for its records. Uh, and then we're gonna wrap up. We
They
have
send him like a dildo back and said,
two
"Go use
giant
this."
bag of dicks.
Yeah, go
We've
use these.
we yuck. Yeah, yeah, because if anyone could actually send a bag, a hospital is probably the place where they could say, look,
Well, I don't expect them to send actual
we
dicks,
have
but
bags of dicks here.
yeah.
We'll send um well then we're talking about George Santos made a very special cameo video. for a group I call Alb Man. That even sounds worse than the real thing. And
Oh
we're
yeah,
talking,
George Santos.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And then we're talking about Tesla's stock price, which is going down faster than Lauren Boebert in a theater.
Masterful gambit, sir.
Yeah,
Oh, and what about the well, before we get into everything, I guess I'll talk about this real fast.
yeah.
I saw my first Cybertruck in the wild.
Oh, I saw one today too. Yeah.
I was driving down the street and it was on the other side of the road, so going the other way.
Yep.
And it was the weird, I was like, oh my God, like it's just so weird
It's
seeing it
big.
in real
Yeah.
life. Like, it's interesting. There's no denying it. When you see it in person,
Yeah.
it is definitely an interesting looking car.
Yes.
It's impractical. It is dumb. It'd be something cool to see at like a car show. Like, oh yeah, that's interesting. That would have been
Yeah.
like in an 80s like sci-fi movie or something,
Yes.
you know? Like that's interesting. So I guess they all got recalled recently.
A lot of them did. They had that problem with the accelerator. Some screw falls out and just
No, they're
slams
not
the.
even screwed. That's the problem. It's just like clamped in. So I guess as you're driving, we talked about this last week. Your
Yeah.
foot, this video. So the guy said like he couldn't get the car out of like off the. He had to hit the brake the entire time, and you're able to
Yeah.
stop the car, but car would because the thing slid up, and then there's like a seam, and so the thing was wedged in that seam.
Yeah.
So the the pedal is
So weird.
stuck in the I don't know the go pedal,
Yeah.
not the
The,
gas
the
pedal.
go button.
Go, but yeah. Did you hear though about the car wash thing?
Yeah. Yeah. It voids your warranty if you take it
So
in
if you
car
wash your
wash.
car and don't put the car wash mode on, first of all, I don't even know if you can go through a car wash with this.
I don't know.
But if you wash your car and you don't put the car wash mode on, you void your warranty. So that's ridiculous. And then I heard if you put the car wash mode on, it basically resets your car and then you can't use it for like hours because it's like rebooting. This car sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah. I agree with you. It does look kind of cool isn't the right word, but it is
Like I said,
arresting.
it's like if I saw like I tweeted and I said it's like if I saw like a person with two heads or a unicorn walking down the street.
Yeah.
I would just be like, that's different.
For me, it's like if I see like every once in a while I'll see like an exotic European sports car. And I don't know the name of it. It's like this is a, you know, oh Rothrar, so like some brand I've never heard of before, and it looks kind of cool. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I like it. It's probably got shitty gas mileage, or that's how I felt with the Cybertruck. I did kind of like feel compelled to look at it, but then I was like, I don't want to look at it because like the driver's probably a dick, and I don't want him to see me looking at his car.
Oh, wait, so you saw it parked or something?
No, I was driving. I was driving down Justin, if you're familiar with Justin.
Yeah.
And it passed me to my left. I
Yeah,
was in
that's
the
what
right.
happened. It kind of passed me on the other side of the road too. And I was just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Right. It just looked, I was like, it looks homemade, like
Like
a
like
plucky group of kids at a tech college
it
built
looks
it.
like something that, it's like a concept car, and except they decided to go with it.
Yeah. And
With
then
the
I get
sketch.
that it's a truck like that you could probably remove it just seemed like
It
real.
doesn't even, I don't even understand how it's a truck. It makes no sense.
Yeah, like just don't make it a
You
truck. It
can't
doesn't
even
need to
fit
be
a
a
bike in the
truck.
back. Like it's like a short.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
yeah.
It's just
All right.
funny that they're mostly getting recalled, and we'll talk about Tesla in the end anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Deadpool Wolverine trailer just dropped. Deadpool 3.
Yes, yes.
What do you think?
It looked great. It looked like more consequential of a story than I was anticipating.
It looked more serious than the
Yes,
first teaser.
yeah. It looked like, especially when Deadpool's like, you're the one that's good at saving the world or whatever, and it did have like uh the weight of like Wolverine always works well when he's kind of weary. You know what I mean? Like he's got like a weight on his shoulders, and it had that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, It looks real great. I was the whole time I was watching it though, I was debating like, is this something I can take my kid to? You know what I mean? Because like I probably will. It doesn't look terrible, terrible, but like that's what I was thinking the whole time. It's like, can I take my kid to this?
Well, you got to see the villain,
Yep.
Cassandra Nova. I don't know if
Good.
you looked her up or anything like that.
Yes, I did.
It's a very odd. She was introduced in New X-Men like 115 when Grant Morrison took over the comic and kind of just in the early 2000s he took over X-Men. They all had like the leather outfits. I think it was to tie in with the first X-Men movie. Like the X-Men
Okay.
movie came out and they put him in all the Matrix leather outfits.
Yes. Yeah.
Um I remember they make that line. They were like, what they're all wearing leather or something, and Wolverine complains, whatever, and Cyclops is like, "Oh, would you rather wear like a blue and yellow suit or
Yeah. Yeah.
something?" Which is what he wears in the comic. So the new X-Men book came out, and like Grant Morrison put all kinds of crazy stuff. And one of the villains he made up was called Cassandra Nova, and you find out that she is Charles Xavier's sister that he killed in the womb when they were like fucking fetuses. It's
Yeah.
super bizarre. You hear stories about like people absorbing their
Yes.
twins.
Yeah.
What's his face? That I don't know if you did you ever watch The Office?
Yeah. Yeah. Dwight.
Yeah, Dwight says that he absorbed his twin, so he has the strength of a man and a baby, which
Yeah.
gives him an edge over people.
Yeah.
Which I found really funny because I don't think the strength of a baby, but
Right.
regardless, very, very stupid. Someone put out a real, they're like, there's all these like post office.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like I'm talking about
Right. Yeah.
where people are like Jim is actually the biggest asshole on the show.
Oh
Jim is
yeah. Yeah.
in person, and they're like Jim bullies an autistic person to impress the secretary in the front and
Who's
try to steal
engaged?
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engaged secretary, and he steals her from the boyfriend.
Right. Who works in the warehouse? Like
Yeah,
who's like kind of a lower level, like yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Jim
I
is
can see
truly
that.
the
Yeah.
biggest piece of shit on the show.
Yeah. That makes sense, honestly, because like if you've ever worked with Jim, like unless you're real tight with Jim, they're a lot to deal with. They're like
Did you see? You watched the original, right?
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Tim
Yes.
is much different from Jim.
Very.
And I would say the character that Dwight's based on, the other guy
Yeah.
who he had like blondish hair.
Mackenzie Crook played him.
Yeah, in
Gareth.
the original Office, he was
Yeah.
like the Dwight character. He was a bigger prick than Dwight was.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
would
Tim
say
was like legitimately like a nicer person.
Tim, who was the guy who played the Hobbit.
Yeah, he played Bilbo and a
Yeah.
bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He was a lot kinder and gentler. Loose Dawn, which was Lucy.
Yeah.
Lucy? Yeah, the Pam character was like a lot more mild mannered and kind of like a little harder to read. Yeah, the original Office was just like really, really exceptionally good.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, I
Gareth
still
was
like the original, but you know what? We digressed a little bit.
yes, yeah.
Just a little off the path. We took a detour.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that.
The trailer.
Yeah, the Pat trail for Deadpool. Of course, it's my fault. I'm going to bring up all this shit. So yeah, Cassandra. So all these like chuds are like, "Why is it a woman? Why is it a woman?" And again, these people show their ass all the fucking time. They claim they're these real geeks, these real gamers, these real comic book nerds, and they always show their ass that they're not. They're fake. They're trying to recruit people to be right wing in a lot of these like YouTube shows and stuff. And Cassandra Nova is a character that was created in like 2001.
Yeah.
It's a 25-year-old character.
Yeah,
She's
I
been
had to
multiple times. I think the problem is that there's a lot of people who claim they like the X-Men. They really only read it around the time of the 90s when Jim Lee was drawing it.
Yeah, X-Men is so complicated too. There's so much going on with it. I remember being in middle school and like some of my friends, their favorite comic book was the X-Men. I was more into like Spider-Man and maybe Fantastic Four, but
Shit.
mostly like Spider-Man and so. I mean, I was like into the the more mainstream books, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but even then, like the X-Men, it was so complicated. Nightcrawler and Beast. I mean, just like all these different characters, all had pretty complicated backstories. Uh, I don't know. I've always found X-Men pretty challenging. Um,
Well,
and yeah,
so like I said, I just think it's interesting though. Like I love these people who try to find a fault with something. And the movie hasn't come out yet. I really don't know what to expect from this movie. There's all these theories about it. Like you see like them all by like a giant
yeah,
ant's head or whatever. A lot of people think that the rumor is that the Wolverine we're meeting is actually it's Old Man Logan again, but it's the real Old Man Logan from the comic where he kills. So in the Logan movie, do you ever see Logan, the
yes,
last
oh yeah,
Wolverine movie?
oh
You find out that it was like all the X-Men died, and you find out it was Charles Xavier because he has these like weird, he's getting older and he has like
yeah.
dementia
These
and he
little
has no
psychic
control. Yeah,
earthquakes.
he causes, and there's like that awesome scene in Vegas where everyone's like
Yeah,
caught, like they were living in like a silo because it was able to contain like Charles Xavier from like, you know,
yeah.
I thought that was so good. I
It
loved
was.
him in the movie. That was such a great like his relationship, like that scene when they're having dinner at the people's house, and then it gets real tragic and it's kind of sad.
It's a very
Uh,
sad movie. Yeah.
yeah, it was such a good movie. I had to see it again, but it's different from the comic. In the comic, it's a little old man Logan. You find out that he Wolverine is the one who's tricked and kills all the X-Men. He's the
Mm.
one that kills everyone. It's like Mysterio and all them use like an illusion and like there's like a big setup and Red Skull's like the president of the United States. It's like this crazy
Yeah, yeah.
comic. This theory they think that this version of Wolverine is the one
Oh, that Logan. Okay,
that
yeah,
specific one from the comic. I don't know if that's the case either. Who the hell knows?
yeah,
I don't think it looks cool. They still haven't showed the mask.
yeah.
He doesn't wear the mask yet. They're not he does wear it. I've seen
The
some of the
stills.
licensed products have leaked online, and it's him wearing the mask, so he does wear it.
Yeah. Well, I could see them wanting to show his face during a lot of the scenes, I mean, uh yeah, that'll be good. I honestly I'm looking forward to it. It's like one of the few big movies coming out that looks great, and I think it'll be good.
And the Cassandra Nova character is like really fucking evil. Like
Yeah.
if they're doing rated R, she's a perfect villain for a rated R movie because she is like. Did you see like when she's like controlling him like a puppet in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
trailer? She's like moving his arms and shit. And yeah, she's supposed to be like sinister. Now, the other rumor is about the movie again is like it is like literally like the end game for Fox News, 20th Century Fox universe. Did you see the scene when they're in the snow and you see the 20th Century Fox
Yeah.
logo buried in the ground? You know Deadpool's gonna do it. There's gonna be a Planet of the Apes reference there. And
So
then
I
you're
can
gonna
see
say,
that.
"You
Yeah.
blew it up, you bastards!" Like there's gonna be a Planet of the Apes
Something like
reference
that. Yeah, yeah.
with it half buried, the 20th Century Fox logo. I mean, that is. I'm like, is that too? Is that
Two
too
on, yeah.
meta?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna do it, a Deadpool movie is a good place to do it.
Yeah,
Uh
I guess, but I always feel like when you start doing like it's like She-Hulk, the last episode, it's like
yeah.
confronts the Kevin Feige robot, and it's just like a little
That
too
well, yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it, but I could see how some people would just be like, "This is dumb."
Yeah. I remember that was always the
When
big
I watch my
complaint.
green women, I like them in a serious thing. This is silly.
That was always the big complaint about the end of the Stephen King Dark Tower books. Like he'd been writing these books for like fucking ever, and then at the very end, at the top of the Dark Tower, the gunslinger meets Stephen King, and it's just like people were like, it was kind of a love it or hate it type of ending. And then
Because
it
isn't like
starts.
Dark Tower supposed to like coincide with like all Stephen King's books
Yes,
actually?
it connects everything,
Because
everything.
I didn't see the movie, but people said in the movie, the Dark Tower movie that came out, it didn't do well. It had Idris Elba played
Yeah,
the character, and Matthew McConaughey was like the villain.
yeah,
They said there's like references to like Cujo in the movie, and there's references to like it supposedly.
yeah. I
And
never saw the movie, but I think I read like the first four of the seven Dark Tower books.
I
I
just think it's
read,
insane that like he's written so much shit that he
dude.
also has like a whole line of like novels that would be enough for one writer to be famous
Oh
from.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Like
mean, it's unbelievable. There's a time in like the 80s or 90s where he was just cranking out novels. He
he did a
even
lot of coke.
said, well, he said he was on like painkillers a lot. He said like he doesn't even remember writing the Tommy Knockers or something. I mean,
He's like,
there's
what
like
fuck would I call it the Tommy Knockers? You think I was fucking awake during that? I
um,
called it the Tommy Knockers.
but yeah, a lot of his
Someone was
books.
knocking on the door. It's me,
No,
Tommy.
it has something to do with mines, like a mining term.
Yeah,
Anyway, he a lot of his books reference other books. I mean, so and the Dark
yeah.
Tower is supposed to kind of connect them all. Anyway, I think this will be good. I'm
It's
looking
the only
forward to
Marvel
it.
movie we're getting this year.
Yeah, yeah,
We got the X-Men cartoon. I love it. It's so funny. And this is what Marvel should just treat things now. Like it's a success. So now they're like, Kevin Feige basically came out and said, yeah, this is canon.
right.
Well, he's not
Yeah,
like it's canon and then like it's part of the multiverse.
that's yeah. I mean, if once you establish that there's a multiverse, anything can be canon.
Well, I told you about that in that fifth episode. You see the Watchers
Yeah,
outline watching
yes,
what's going on in Genosis.
yeah.
Genosha.
I saw that on Twitter. A lot of people
Genosis
kind
is
of.
the planet where the bugs live and Attack of the Clones. So I got my
Oh yeah,
properties mixed up.
right.
Genosha.
Genosha. Yeah, Genosis is the where they make the clones, right?
No, Genosis is I thought the planet that they fight
Oh,
Count Dooku and the
yeah.
Clone Wars starts at.
All right, that could be the case. Well,
Uh,
anyway.
Waterworld is where they make the clones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Now I gotta look this up. God damn
I thought
it.
the clone was on Genosa. Uh,
I was right. Genosis, a harsh, rocky world, less than a parsec away from Tatooine. Oh, not cousin planet. Genosis
right?
is ringed planet between the borders of the. Okay, no, I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do we got? So the next thing
X-Men
in this,
cartoon.
yeah, X-Men cartoon. Um, I liked it a lot. I found myself having to Google stuff
There's a lot
as
of stuff in there that can be very confusing, like who is Trask. Gyrick is that guy with the red hair.
yep.
I guess they took care of him. So it's like funny about this show is that I wonder if people who watch it like never even watched the original cartoon or they just don't even remember it, you know? Like, or they watched like maybe only the first season, not realize there were like three or four other seasons. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of characters that got introduced and the stories, and like they're probably like, who the fuck's this Gyrick guy? Um, so I don't know. It's cool. You get to you're finding out more what's going on.
It seemed this one seemed the first time where I'm like, okay, all some threads are starting to come together, and now I see like the organization of the plot. You know what I mean? Like,
It begins with Gambit's funeral. It's really sad.
yep,
It's like done really well. It's like silent. I thought the whole thing was really cool. Nightcrawler is now a regular, and they even said if you watch the opening title,
yeah.
you see him now in it. Fucking guy, dude. He's like a fucking vulture. He sees Gambit's dead, and he's like, oh, Froyland, it's time for
Right.
calling out.
Yeah, I did notice that. I
There's a
thought
little opening for the band.
the Bamf.
I'm gonna bam for you, bam bam.
I always liked that character
Shin.
though.
What?
I liked the Nightcrawler character. I
Yeah,
always
he's
thought
cool. I didn't like him as a kid, but I like him more older. I liked him. I liked Alan Cummings' version of
oh,
him
he was
in
great.
that
Yeah,
movie. That was great.
yeah. Um, I thought this was good. I think the stuff with the Sentinels is starting to make a lot more sense. Um, I think it's still kind of suffering from not anticlimactic, but it was like such a big moment.
Well, it was
Couple of
clearly like the mid-season
yeah,
finale that
right,
episode.
right.
It's picking up again, and like Rogue is like out for blood.
Yeah,
Captain America shows up. She throws his shield across like the really far away. I
right.
thought that was
Yeah.
kind of funny, actually. um, yeah, she and there's a great scene in the towards the end when she like you think she kills that guy, but he ends up being revealed that he is like one of the
Like a sentinel.
Nimrods or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're called like Nimrods or in like Bastion. And then you meet Bastion. Bastion's like this. He's like the full evolution of the Sentinels, where they're basically like an artificial intelligence and like
Okay.
takes more of a humanoid, human form, human size. It's not like a 60-foot robot or anything
Right.
like that. Nimrod was like the next level, and then Bastion's supposed to be even further. I was like
Yes.
the even as a kid, when you're like meet Nimrod, and like I'm like, isn't Nimrod like an insult to someone? Like, hey, you
Yeah, it
fucking
seems like
Nimrod.
it. Right.
Like Nimrod, I thought was like a dumbass, so I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, that
most
was
easiest villain to trick
right.
is a Nimrod.
Well, it did like I appreciated how the pieces of the plot are coming into focus. I liked it a lot. I like this show a lot. I still find myself kind of confused and looking things up during the show, but I don't mind. I mean, I honestly
You
I
like that
kind of
old lady? You ever see that like clip art? Not clip art, but that like stock photo of the old lady looking at the computer all confused.
yeah. Yeah.
She's like, like she's kind of looking in
Yeah, yeah.
close. She's got the glasses, like just your
Like
classic
she's
granny.
I don't even know anyone in Nigeria, much less a prince, much less
I never met royalty before. I feel honored.
um yeah, I don't mind that, to be honest with you. I like shows with deep lore. I'm not like put off by that or intimidated by it, but it is like a different way of watching a show because like I'll go on these like down the rabbit hole of like, oh, this character, how they're related to that character. But it's good. It's a fun show. I'm glad they're doing it, you know?
Yeah. No, I like it. We find out spoilers, Magneto's alive.
Yep.
They even say like they're talking about like the wreckage and like finding people. Like again, one of the things was that woman, Valerie Cooper, whatever her name is, the blonde lady, she's like the
Yeah.
human liaison, whatever.
Human
Like
liaison.
whenever she shows up, there was always something bad. Like in the second episode when like Magneto fights everybody and like
Yeah.
or she's at Genos and Genosis too, which was
Right.
bad for the
She's in
New
Kenosha.
for the New Republic, but or the Old Republic or whatever the fuck they were called.
Yes.
Um and yeah, she's missing also. So supposedly they said if you think the fifth episode is crazy, they said the eighth episode is supposed to be nuts.
All right. Cool.
And the ninth episode. So I'm
What is
assuming
there, a
10
total
will
of
be like
12?
I think it's only 10. I don't know.
See.
I'm curious how long the wait's gonna be for the second season. I know they already said they're writing the third season, so I would
Yeah.
imagine that two is in the can and already not in the can finished, but probably like just being animated every,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
voice work and everything. I'm sure they're gonna want to like they're not if they're smart, they'll get this on like a yearly schedule. And
Yeah.
like,
For sure.
I mean, this is a hit for them. It'd be stupid for them not to have it next year.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be actually brilliant if they got it out, like even if they got out like half of them at the end of the year.
Yeah. Like do a half order and then,
Yeah, 3 month break, and then I mean, fuck it. Like if you're the after that
honestly,
Genosha episode, that would have been like a great episode to like do like a month break on.
right. Yeah. No, it would have been. Huh. Well, anyway, I hope so. I hope they do get it on a good regular schedule because that's kind of devastating. I know this isn't on our list, but we were talking about Severance. I know that that had a lot of
Oh
different
yeah, they finally
production.
announced it. It's done. It's
It's
ready.
done. Yeah.
They done
Uh,
filming. That doesn't mean it's done. Like they could just air it. They wrapped on the filming,
yes.
and they said it'll be out later this year. They haven't
Right.
announced a date yet, but it will be out. So that's awesome.
It is. But like, I think Severance kind of sucked because it had such great buzz, and it's been like two
They
years.
better fucking be working on that third station. You know what? Like if they were smart, they would have like we talked about this, the Bear, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
They filmed season 3. Wait, I mean, what season are they up to now?
They're
There's
they've
only
done
two, right?
two, right?
Okay, they filmed 3 and 4 back to back, which is a
Perfect.
smart move because all those actors are getting big,
Yep.
and it allows you to like guarantee that like you can get this out the next year or 9 months later, whatever, and keep the momentum going. They should fucking do that with Severance.
Yeah,
They
they
should
should.
have like season 3 ready to go. Like,
Unless they're ending it after two, they
yeah,
should be on
I
three
have a
already.
feeling they probably got their shit together, and who the fuck knows
Yeah,
actually.
we'll see. We'll
Because
see.
there was some weird behind the scenes shit, but then there was also this thing people gotta remember. There was a writer and actor strike that lasted
Yeah,
like what, 6 months to 8 months? I mean, that
yeah.
stalled the shit out of a lot of projects. I don't think people realize it.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah,
like, why is this taking so long? Because they couldn't film anything for like more than a half a year.
yeah. And it's just such a near perfect show. Like everything about it works so well. The music, the sets, the lighting, the camera work, the acting, the script. I mean, everything worked perfectly. Probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
Just such a
Uh,
good show. Yeah, I can't wait
yeah,
for it to come back. I hope they, like you said, yeah, I mean, if they wrapped it up and gave it a solid 2 seasons, I'd be fine with that. But I have a feeling it'll last longer than that.
yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, like I, a lot of these shows don't sound like they'd be as good as I thought they would be. Like it, when I heard about Severance, I was like, I don't know, but it was just amazing. So we'll see. Yeah, I was the same way about our next topic, Rebel Moon 2. So
Yeah, I was waiting so much for this one. I really was like,
yes,
it's like the way I wait for like a dentist appointment. I'm like, oh
right.
boy, I can't wait to see what's wrong with my gums and teeth this time.
6 months, why not three? Um, yeah, I watched Rebel Moon 2 after you did the Scar Giver.
It came out last like Friday or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It was legitimately bad. I mean,
Is
it
it?
was
Would you say it was worse than one, or would you
yeah,
say
yeah, because at the
better?
end of one, I was my I remember talking to you about it, and my big argument at the time was like, look, this is not a great movie or anything, but it's a fun movie. Like I could see myself watching this. I could see myself having enjoyed this if no one hyped it up. I would have been like, oh yeah, the effects are kind of good, and it's a retread plot, but like it's fun. The
I thought the
acting's
ending, I didn't like one at all. Like, I mean, I knew it was like caca doo bullshit, but like there were some things in it, like there was some like those chairs that like imprison people and they put the
yeah,
screws in the back of their head or whatever.
yep,
Like that was kind of cool. You got actual like aliens and different planets, even though again, I thought the design work on these were weak as hell. I thought the
yep,
ships were under designed. A lot of this stuff just looked really bad. But like at least there was something there, uh, like some attempt at world building. And
yeah,
even the ending, when you find out, like obviously she beats the guy, you think he's dead, and then he comes back, or they're rebuilding his body, and then he's like on some like astral plane, and there's that guy who's like her dad. He's like he's like the
yeah,
Emperor Palpatine. He's not even in the sequel. He's in like one flashback sequence in the sequel. He doesn't even fucking show up, this guy. And this guy is supposed to be like, she's basically like Gamora to his
yeah,
Thanos,
yeah, yeah.
like all that shit. So the first movie is like a fucking straight up Star Wars ripoff, but like at least there's like different aliens and like
There's some
stuff.
stylistic
Yeah,
flourishes. Yeah,
the second one is just a fucking ripoff of his movie 300
yeah,
and the Seven Samurai and fucking Bug's Life. I mean, I was like, okay, so the second movie, they they go back, they got the gang like they did
yep.
in the end of the first one. I don't remember any of these characters' names.
No,
Bobo, Bing Bing, Zing Zang,
Cora, I think it's the woman,
Charlie the Tuna, he was cool. Um,
Captain Caveman.
yeah, Captain K-Man was pretty sick. Shmoo was
Should be
good.
nice.
The Noid, I can't believe they got the Noid, but they did. You can't avoid the Noid, you just gotta go with
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And the second movie, it's like, okay, let's go back to the farm from the first movie. Let's go back to the 1930s Dust Bowl farm.
Yeah.
And let's have all our characters farm for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Slow motion shots of just real hard work, just getting the soil and building with our hands. And then let's all sit around the table and talk about how we all ended up there. And
Yeah.
they and
No
I and
sense
I
of urgency. No.
there is
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're being told like, oh, the bad guys are gonna come and like, I don't know, they got 5 days to like get ready.
Yep.
So they're sitting around all the characters and they're talking about like their past and how they end up where
Right.
they were. And I swore like this sequence was so bad, so corny, like really you just sit around and tell your backstory. And they all were kind of similar.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so dull. Like,
Even like the design work is dull. It's like there's no
yeah.
thought. Like there's these people and they're just playing violins. Like I don't know, design some space violins. Design
Yeah.
some fucking
It did.
space shit.
It was a weird mix of like the familiar, like, oh, that looks kind of like a Nazi uniform, and like,
It's like a
and
weird Nazi
yeah,
Prussian army, like Austrian, even a
right.
little bit like communist. It's bizarre.
It just wasn't. I mean, like I said, at the end, like, it just wasn't interesting. I've seen movies I didn't necessarily. You and I talked before we started recording. Like, I didn't necessarily love The Fifth Element, but I remember it, and I
Yeah.
liked a lot of
I didn't
parts of
like care
it.
for it when I saw it in the theater, but you remember Lilu?
Yep, and the
Was her
story
name
was like,
Lilu?
yeah,
Yeah. You
uh-huh,
remember the blue lady? You remember the aliens they fight? You remember Gary Oldman's character?
yep,
And the
Bruce
fact that
Willis,
the main villain was like something he would talk to on the phone, make his head like leak
yeah,
Giuliani juice on the side
right,
of his head. There was like, yeah, it was memorable looking.
yeah,
Like the design work and everything. It was
very
cool.
ambitious,
Very
swung for the
colorful,
fences, yeah.
like world building, lived in universe.
Yeah, real interesting design choices, a lot of detail,
Like
lot,
it was silly. I thought it was a little too silly, but it flowed. It never really was like slow. It moved.
yeah, and
This
you could
movie
tell,
has nothing. It's drab as hell. And then the second movie is just let's be on this boring planet that doesn't even look. It just looks like Kansas or some bullshit.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I mean, I'm so tired. Like the worst thing I hated about Man of Steel. No,
yeah,
there's actually one of the worst things I hated was how Smallville was depicted. It was the most
oh yeah,
depressing. It was so depressing. It was like one of those like little shithole towns you drive through Texas when you're trying to get the fuck out of Texas and
right,
you're going
right,
from like Dallas to and you're going through New Mexico and you drive through
yeah,
Amarillo. You pass through all these little shithole towns. Some of them are a little bigger than others. Most of them, it's like they might have like two gas stations. They have
yep,
like you're lucky if they have like a Dairy Queen, they have maybe a McDonald's. And that's kind of like what Smallville was depicted. It
yeah,
was like so unimaginative, so like drab. And I was like, it was depressing. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. It was like this is supposed to be small town USA. You're supposed to
right.
like make it look like there's like cute little
It's
stores and
supposed to be
a
like
little
Riverdale
downtown.
or something, yeah, like
Yeah. That's
all
what Smallville is
American,
supposed to be like. And instead it was just like this is a 7-Eleven across the street from the IHOP. And I was like,
yeah,
the fuck, man? I know you want to get some product placements in there, but can you be a little more like imaginative about it? Have a little life into it, like have some escapism. I mean, it was so bad. But this movie was like the same thing. I'm like,
yeah, that's it, you know,
there's like there's hardly any aliens in this one. At least like the first one, there was like creatures everywhere. Like the guy flying the bird, the Avatar ripoff scene
right,
where the main hero rides that dragon for the first time, whatever. It's like the same scene. But like this movie sucked.
yeah, it's just dull, unimaginative.
And
I
then
will
it
say,
ends
like,
with like the promise for more, and it's like,
yeah, I
no,
didn't
dude, we're done here.
like, I thought it was proficient in some ways, like the acting was fine. None of the
Yeah, I
actors
mean, it's
really
a
didn't.
waste of definitely a waste of talent. What's his
Yeah,
face? Let me pull him up. Like he's a great actor. He's completely wasted. He's been. It's funny. This guy's been old. He's um he was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
and Captain Marvel. He's the ancient one in the Shazam movies.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I have to like pull up. I don't know his name by heart.
Well,
Like he's a great, yeah. Digimon Hansu. I
okay, yeah.
Mon Hansu. I could probably sing his name wrong. Completely wasted. He's a great actor. The main star, Sophia Boutella, I like her in
She's
other
fine.
things. Completely
Yeah.
wasted in this. I will say the guy that she's with or whatever, he's definitely more improved in this one. But like, so basically, they fuck and sorry, pardon my French. They make
Right.
love. Make love. Uh, and then all of a sudden, he it's like they reverse, and now she's some like fucking damsel in distress.
Yeah. She loses her edge for sure.
Yeah, she gave her vagina power to she got the dick or something, and then she just became like a generic girl character. Like
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
disappointing.
it's so bad, and the villain was lame. It's like, oh, we're just gonna fight the same villain again, and like they fall for like even that scene, the lamest scene, is like when they all come out of the ground. Like, yeah, I guess that's cool. It wasn't that great. Could have
Right.
looked
Yeah.
better. Or like the woman who has like the robot. I guess she has. You find out they're robot hands, and she has like the lightsabers,
Right.
and she's saving that boy, that little blonde boy, and it's like,
Yeah.
who gives a shit? Like, did
Yeah.
they? Was there a scene that established that they?
Not that I saw. It just sort of came out of the blue
I think he
without
looks at
comment.
her when they're farming, and he's just like, "Oh, she's interesting," and she just looks
Right.
back, and that's it. And it's like, "Oh, okay, that's the you could have had like, okay, you want to explain backstories instead of them just sitting around the table going one by one about how they ended up.
Yeah.
The little boy can have been like, "What happened to your arms?" And then she could have
Yeah.
told
Yeah.
him, and then the little boy would have been horrified after. I then
Yeah.
cut my arms off. Got robot
Yeah.
arms. It was horrible. Little kid's like, "Mom."
Yeah. I don't know. It's just I think that was to me the cardinal sin is that like this really could have been it didn't need to be this bad. Didn't need to be this boring.
It
Uh
was bad.
yeah.
The only thing cool in the movie is the robot. He
Oh
has a
yeah.
cape and he's flying. He's doing Superman shit. He's got like antlers or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. He's cool. He's like the only thing that was cool in the movie was the robot.
Yeah. That was a nice touch.
And then, okay,
Um
so the ships use coal and they want the farm's grain.
yeah, that's another
Nobody,
I don't mind like Dune did a nice job of saying like this is why a lot of our tech is old.
yeah, but
Uh
Dune, it makes sense that like there's a spice that's only created on
yeah.
this planet because it's basically just the feces of this worms that only live on this
Yeah.
planet.
And it also makes sense that they gave up tech because they were worried there was a in the aftermath of an AI battle, you know.
Yeah. But in this world, this empire or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
is gonna wants the wheat that this farm grew. And it's like how much fucking wheat could have been yielded by this one farm that you had to waste an entire infantry.
Yeah, and like I don't even want
How
to get
much
into
fucking
like
wheat? Like what do you got? Like a week's worth? Like
yeah, and you're
so
telling me you can't
stupid.
like you don't have the tech to manufacture that or to like replicate it somehow. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, exactly. Like you have
I
these
mean,
ships and everything, but you can't fucking grow wheat.
yeah,
Like I said, the
it doesn't make
Dune
any
thing makes
sense.
sense because it's this like it's like unobtainium in Avatar.
Yeah, right.
Literally just some made up thing. What does this planet have that no other planet has? Uh wheat.
Can't have
Wow,
it.
wheat? Holy shit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a
It's
gluten intolerance, so I don't really care.
mhm. Well,
Stupid. I
it
cannot
is.
stand the lame like this is something that like conservatives do.
Yeah,
They want to pretend that they're like they're the salt of the earth. They're the
right.
hardworking, the farmers, and all that, and they're not.
No.
Fucking have no clue what it takes to do these things or what it means or the fact that most of the time they're just hiring like immigrants to do it and abusing them and letting them die
Yeah.
on their farms while they do it. I can't stand this like imagery. It's so boring and lame and tiring. And then like, wait, so the ships use coal to space
Yeah.
travel?
How would that even work? You know?
Like, oh God. I saw some dipshit on Twitter like try to blame like people who have a bias and you just attack Zack Snyder or everything he does. And it's like there was this one TikTok, some guy made a good point. He said, because of these three movies, I will always watch a Zack Snyder movie
Hmm.
regardless. I will always at any point. He brings
Right.
up Watchmen, 300. I don't know what the third one was.
Hmm.
Maybe it was Dawn of the Dead. I don't know.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but again, it's good because James Gunn wrote it.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't write. I bet you if Zack Schneider had worked off a like The Watchmen makes sense that it was good because it was based off of an existing novel that people liked.
Yeah. It was primarily a ready
And
product.
300 was also an adaptation of a Frank Miller
Yeah.
comic.
Yeah. True.
Now look at everything else that he's done that like is based off. I mean, obviously it's Batman, Superman, which is I was talking to my son about this today, and I said so we passed by a gym, and I
Right.
said, remember the scene when Batman's doing like CrossFit? And
Yeah.
I was like, it's so fucking stupid. You could train as much as you want. You're going against Superman.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Superman could just go up to you and be like, I like your arm.
Right.
And he would just take it from you. And it would have no effort whatsoever.
Yeah, you gotta prepare for Superman battles in a different way because you're not gonna
Yeah.
outstrength them.
Like they sit there and like pull a tire. Oh, this will take Superman. Um, and I even said to my son that we were talking about this, and I said, why does Superman have to be fit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like he
He's still
has
gonna, yeah,
powers from the sun. Like he doesn't have to actually look fit. He can literally probably do like he can look like Danny DeVito.
yeah. He'll still run fast.
He'll still like fly faster than
Yeah,
anything and run fast and be able to like lift up God knows what. And he'd be like, hey, look at me, I'm doing it, you know? I mean, it
yeah,
might not look as cool, but like, why does it need to be this fit dude? Like
yeah.
he could fight the fittest people in the world, and he would just like, I'm gonna take your face now and just pull it.
Right.
You wouldn't have to, it would be effortless. It'd be like, I'm going to take your head and fly away with it. And your body will be below
Right. Yeah.
because I am like a literal god. Like, but like, why does he have to look like an Adonis? Like, he can just
Yeah.
look like Zach Galifianakis or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I
So
like
back to
that
Rebel
idea.
Moon.
Yeah.
There's this guy on TikTok. What do you call it? Like Rebel
Um,
boosh
yeah,
turd
something like
poop
that. Yeah.
fart poop fart too. Like he just goes on shitty pants fart deuce shit.
Yeah.
I think most of the people fucking hated this one. I think even the people who defended the first one were like, yeah, the second one was not good.
Mhm.
It was boring. It was just
Yeah.
like boring environment, boring setting. Like there's it's like Star Wars takes place in Tatooine in the beginning. And then they
Yep.
do come back to Tatooine in the third one.
No, but they show
But
you
it's
what's going on everywhere else.
yeah, but they go to Jabba's palace and it's like a new design. So it's not like they
Mm,
went back to like Luke's farm,
right.
moisture farm, and had a battle there. They went to a new set. It was awesome. The set with all the Muppets and shit and
Yeah.
Jabba. So yeah, it was still Tatooine, but it was not the Tatooine from the first movie.
Hmm.
This
Okay.
one, it's like this boring ass farm.
Right.
Hey, I have an idea. You know what would be really cool? What if we put the entire second movie
Yeah.
in this boring ass farm? Can we just saturate everything? Use like warm grays for the entire palette?
Well, yeah, it's rough. That part is definitely rough.
And
I don't know that I'm just definitely dying to see that other movie.
and then the movie is called The Scar Giver because when he's being brought back to life, the bad guy, he's like, keep the scar because she's the
Don't wear it
scar
out.
giver.
Well, yeah.
Yo, what's up with like people come back to life and they always end up fucking killing like the doctors who work like to bring back the bad guy.
Right.
Like even the bad guy should be like thankful, like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
mean I follow the logic, but like
so bad. And then, like I said, some person like wrote like, "Oh, people just come in and hate it. They just have a bias against him." It's like it wasn't a good movie. It sucked.
yeah. It just
It, like,
wasn't. I mean,
I enjoyed the stupid one from Vegas with the zombies. I like that one. I wouldn't mind seeing another
yeah,
one. I think
that was fun.
maybe he does better with that stuff. I don't know.
Hmm.
But
Well,
like he always loves putting a character with a cape in his movies. Like he did that with the zombie movie where the main bad guy had a cape
yeah.
and he had the helmet. So like they would shoot at it and he was like you couldn't
Hmm.
kill him easily because he had a metal plate on his head.
Right.
But you couldn't, zombies get killed by shooting
Hmm.
him in the head.
Yeah.
Remember?
I
Remember
do.
that?
Yeah.
And then you
In
got the
the Army of the
robot,
Dead.
and then you got the
Yeah.
robot with the cape in this one. That's the best part of the entire movie. The robot. That's it. And even that's like, I don't know. She takes a ship and go meet the robot and like in a waterfall or something. And
Yeah, some of it just seemed like they were inventing reasons for these people to go places. I mean, I know that that wasn't the case with all of them, but like the
then
movie
her
felt pretty.
boyfriend gets killed.
Uh,
Dollar store Bradley Cooper.
yeah, what is her name in this? Cora?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll leave it at that. They say they're going to make four more. I will
Nah, I
believe it
think
when
they
I
should
see
not.
it.
I think you should
Yeah,
stop.
okay.
This
And they may.
what's the next one going to be on? It's going to be on a farm. We're going
Yeah,
to see people work in the farm.
I don't know. He said he originally perceived it as a trilogy, and he would split each item in the trilogy out into two parts. So three total pieces for six parts.
What about the 17-hour director's cut? Someone brought up a funny thing where they drag the ship out or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
and then she just turns on some switches.
yeah. Well, we'll see.
Oh God! Did you watch it, or were you like looking at other shit while you watched it?
I watched it, but I was not engaged with it. I was on my phone during parts of it. Um, I was looking up a lot. I look up the actress, the other
Let me
cast
look up photos
members.
of the actress.
No, just seeing what else they've been in, if they've like continued to work in Hollywood since making this movie.
Yeah, is this gonna
Um,
ruin your career completely? Can you
it
not
was
get
just
work?
like I guess like my primary complaint that it was boring, but a secondary complaint is that like I I mean I understood the stakes here that they'd get annihilated, but I was never like I never cared so much about them that I was like invested in seeing them succeed. You know, I mean it was just
Yeah,
like
like if they're all cheering and I'm like,
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
sure, I'm happy for you.
right. I mean it just didn't like
And like I said, every character that was like maybe could potentially be interesting was like barely in it. So like
yeah,
the guy who rode like the Griffin,
right.
he's a background character in this one. Like
Yeah.
Carrie Elways is in his flashback for some fucking reason. I don't know. Um, and then same thing. They take out the woman who's like the sword lady. She did much cooler shit in the first one. This one, she's just like swinging her sword around a little
Yeah.
bit, and then she gets killed very easily.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It seemed
like
like
I said,
mismanagement of characters, you know?
there's like this one guy who gets killed. I guess he's one of the main farmers or something. And I'm like, am I supposed to know or care who this
Right.
fucking character is?
A lot of them will like I don't know, it just seemed like stock, like I don't know.
He's
I
gonna go to
guess
Hoth in the next movie.
it just didn't feel I didn't feel invested in it. I and I will say that even though the first one wasn't a good movie, I had a fun time watching it. It was fine. With this one, it felt like a chore to get through, and the movie shouldn't feel like that. I mean, obviously, like
No.
that's a big
And
danger
this
sign.
should have, in theory, been better than the first one. I mean, you had all your
Oh
characters.
yeah,
You could have done a much richer story, and instead, it's like, just have them sit on a farm for the entire fucking movie,
yeah.
and then
By the
I'll
time
just do a rip off of the movie 300.
by the time the movie rolls around, all that backstory, the second movie rolls around, all that backstory and stuff should have been addressed in the first movie, and you can just hit the ground running. But it was the opposite here. It hit the ground at a standstill, and it just, I don't know, never really picked up.
Yeah, it was weak
Yeah.
as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, that was it for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All
Well,
right, so
okay.
let's get into something else. The TikTok ban.
Right.
So the Congress and Senate snuck in. Joe Biden basically signed the TikTok ban.
Yep.
They snuck it in into the aid package for Ukraine and Israel and I guess Taiwan or something.
Yeah, Cory Booker talked about that, how he like had to vote for it because of all these other reasons, but um
I believe that that's the
yeah,
case. I think it's all bullshit anyway. They basically said that I think the whole thing is bullshit. I mean, like besides the reasoning is
sure.
bullshit. I just think none of this is going to happen. TikTok already came out and said, "Yeah, we're not fucking selling it." And it's like, who are they going to sell it to? Which piece of shit are they going
Yeah.
to be forced to sell it to? And who can afford to buy it from them?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "I always say, it would be cool if Elon Musk could buy it, dude."
Yeah. No.
Elon Musk ain't buying shit anymore.
No. No, this mm. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that anything's really going to come of the TikTok ban. I think I'm disappointed that this is what we're talking about, the TikTok ban. But it's here, I mean, that's like a big thing.
Honestly, I don't even give a shit. I don't
Yeah,
believe any of it's going to happen. They said 9 months from now they have to sell it. To me, that's like, okay, they kicked the can down the road. 9 months, we'll have hopefully we'll have the election will be over and hopefully Joe Biden will be president.
yep.
Hopefully the Senate will remain in the Democrats' hand and they'll have the Congress. I believe that whole thing will just go away. I think it's complete bullshit. It's a waste of fucking time. Uh, they had to, whatever it took to get people to vote to get aid to Ukraine and shit like that. I don't
Yeah,
know. I just don't believe it. I don't think it's, and honestly, I don't even fucking care. It's another fucking app. It'll get replaced by some
right.
other app at
That's
some
that's
point.
the thing, is that like I don't think it'll happen. If someone took away my TikTok, I mean, I'd be bummed and everything, but even that's not going
YouTube.
to be
I
like
have
an
other
earth.
shit to
Yeah,
watch.
it's not going to be an earth-shattering thing.
I don't. Oh no, I'll watch some weirdo do a bad take on something for
Right.
10 minutes.
Yeah, most of the stuff I
I don't know.
consume is not great. So
I mean, I don't. TikTok doesn't fucking pay me. I don't care. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I put stuff on there just to get
right. Yeah,
exposure to art, but like
eyes
I'm
on it.
not one of
Yeah,
those content providers that gets paid by TikTok, so I don't give a fuck. Like, I think I don't care. Like, they talk, they annoyed me because a bunch of like good stuff went through this past couple days,
right.
Biden administration, and I feel like everyone's just gonna focus on the TikTok ban. And even like so-called left-wing people were talking about that, and they weren't even bringing up the fact that like there was an overtime law. Obama
Yeah.
tried pushing it through. He did it in the end, which was lame. He saved it till like his lame duck era of his presidency,
Yep.
meaning like Trump was already declared the winner at this point. He put it through. It was basically like if you made like over 52,000 or something, anything 52,000 and under had to be paid overtime, no matter what. If
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
And then, man, I would hate to be the one who makes 52,000. I'd be like, come on, what the fuck, man? They're like, you're
Right.
working late. I'm like, fuck you.
Mm.
I want to demo. Give me 51,000 so I can make like 60,000 and
No.
from overtime. So that rule got completely reversed immediately under Trump. I think it does exist at like 32,000
Yep,
already
I
to
think
begin
so.
with. So it went right back to that. We knew Trump would immediately, the man of the working people, of course, Trump
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
flipped it. And then Biden, I guess, went in even further and put in, it's like what, 58,000 or 60 something thousand?
Uh, yeah, like 50, what do you say,
You could
58
look
or
it up, dude.
60?
Look it up.
Yeah, it is 50. I want to say it's 57.
It's higher than what Obama had. They
Yeah.
put that
And
through today, so that's a big deal. Another big deal thing they did was they basically said that like companies cannot make you sign a non-compete. Now, there's a lot of states in the country where the non-compete means absolutely nothing.
Right.
I think Texas is one of the states where the non-compete means absolutely shit.
Yeah.
They would use that in my when I was in the apparel industry and art industry, they would do that to artists all the fucking time. They would
Yeah.
claim like you can't work it because they knew that another company would just if they saw the portfolio and they liked it and they knew you made some like hit tees or whatever garments, whatever, they gobble you up in a second. And
There
they
was a
use it. Go ahead, what?
there I was gonna say there was a town in I think it was Louisiana where fast food restaurants were using these.
Fucking Jimmy John's is the one that was famous for,
Okay.
like you can't work at a sandwich shop like anywhere that's like 6 miles near a
Yeah.
which is like Subway. They knew that was Subway because Subway
Mm,
was like everywhere. So yeah, Jimmy John's. Fuck you, dude. Like, are you
this
kidding
guy's a
me?
dick.
Like, the guy could work anywhere you want. That yeah, bullshit like that. But they basically, I guess, on a national level now. I don't know if it's good federal. I don't know how this law works,
Right.
but companies cannot make you sign that anymore.
Yeah, or they can't enforce it. I did hear that some people are saying that they are still allowed to keep anti-piracy laws, which is like slightly different.
But what does
Like
that have to do with what does anti-piracy have to do with non-compete?
it's like a weird use of the word. Like let's say you draw art, right?
Yeah.
And you work for a design company or whatever, and the design company makes you sign a no compete clause, and you're like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. So you're able to do that now. You're able to go to work for a new company. But a piracy thing is where it's like, let's say you work for an art company and you have 7 clients you work with, and then you say, I'm going to start my own company, and you call those 7 clients and try to take them with you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think I mean, that's like poaching and shit.
Yeah,
That
it's
shit
like
should be
they call it piracy, but yeah, it's more
that
like
I
poaching.
agree with. That's fucked up. Like that.
Yeah,
That's bullshit, and it happens all the time in some way or form anyway. But like, no, fuck that. They
yeah, you just like take your client book with you and start making calls. That's still illegal, but like you can 100% go work for another company. You can,
yeah,
and if those people find you, then that's fair game.
yeah, that's
You know what I
different.
mean?
But I
So
mean, like, no, I get that. If you start your own company, or
yeah,
I don't know.
there's
I
a
mean,
little
most of the
nuance to
time,
it.
these companies would just it was mostly like an intimidation factor
Yeah. Well, a
to
lot
like
of times it was
create.
something they didn't even think about. They just put it in there, and then if they decided to make it a deal, they did, you know?
What? Yeah, but most of the time they didn't. I mean, I think the
Right.
only time they would really go after people was like if they were management or they were like a higher up or
Yeah.
someone who like a salesperson who naturally if they went to another company then yes they would have like they the buyers would just come with them because they know
Right.
that person has a
Right.
relationship. I think companies can sue, honestly. They can go after someone, but that's a different story. I think
Yeah.
this is more like this is protecting like lower wage jobs, but lower management's a whole nother story anyway. I think like once you enter like management or like a executive title, there's different kinds of protections involved. This is
Yeah.
mostly meant for your like working just people who work at like you know
Right.
hourly workers or salary people. They're not supervisors. They're not. I think it's like a different story. It
Yeah.
gives them more protection.
No, I agree. I think that is the case. Um, I think all of these are real good. You know, the
Yeah, and then the
laws.
last one, which I don't know if there were any other ones, but another really good one was the one, and this is great because we hear all these stories about
Oh,
airports and like
yeah.
the airlines just really fucking taking advantage of the consumer. Especially since the pandemic. A lot of these companies around the country have like really abused their power since the pandemic, claiming to this day bullshit like, well, it's like, dude, we're not in a pandemic. Like,
Right.
the fuck? So airlines, you would hear all these horror stories of airlines just canceling your flight, and it's like you're shit out of luck. What are you gonna do? Well, I guess under this rule, airlines have to give you a refund.
Yeah.
And what
Right.
else? There's something
Right there and
else.
then. There was something else with that. The big thing was the cash refund right up front. But
I bet
there's
you what will happen is they will find ways not to give you a refund they'll like either give you like if you do this, we'll give you like better seats on another. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They'll
I
force
that
the airlines to offer better deals.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind that either.
I was once in Vegas and they asked me to bump my flight back by like a short period of time. They gave me like a $300 voucher. Um, but last year, probably about a year ago, right around now, my kid and I were flying to Florida and they canceled our flight like at midnight after all the hotels were filled up. And then they gave us a new flight like the next morning at like 10. So there wasn't enough time to go home or anything. I mean, and you're fucking sleeping in the airport for like 12 hours. It was
They didn't give you
horrible.
shit. But I mean,
No,
like,
they didn't even give us a meal voucher because they didn't announce that the flight had been canceled until after all the restaurants in the concourse had closed. It was crazy. I mean, it really,
when I was coming back from New York to Colorado last year, our flight was like delayed a little bit, not too bad, but a little bit. That he brought out like waters and snacks.
yeah.
So
Well, as long as you're not voting, that's legal.
what? Yeah,
As long
yeah.
as
I
you're not
was thankfully
voting,
I
that's
wasn't online voting or
yeah,
at the airport in Georgia.
right.
But yeah, any of these rules are good for the consumer
Yeah.
because
Well,
it
and these,
forces the airlines, one, to not be able to take advantage, to actually do their jobs right. It forces not the workers. Everyone always blames the workers, not the fucking workers. It's the fucking management. It's the executives that make the shitty
yeah,
ass fucking decisions, and it trickles down to the workers. And the workers are the ones that the people see, and the people always fucking take it out on the workers, and it's bullshit. So this
yeah.
forces the executives to have to become a little more craftier.
Well,
Uh, and it'll make them like not fuck around with the flights as much. Actually, make sure the planes are working.
yeah, to
Actually,
be conscious about it.
yeah, because they're not going to want to refund like 100 people.
Yeah,
It's not a
yeah.
good. You don't want to start doing that. The whole point is to avoid doing that.
Just crazy. I mean, a lot of the stuff. Like I remember the last time my flight got canceled on American, just like the series of decisions they made seemed like openly hostile. Like if you had done this in just even a slightly different way, no one would have been pissed. But instead, you have like a couple hundred people wandering around in the middle of the night on a concourse, nowhere to sleep, nowhere to eat, nowhere.
Yeah,
It was just terrible. So
no, it sucks. And you're with your kid too, so it makes it like
yeah,
worse.
and it chews up
Um,
a vacation day. Like
yeah, no, it's bullshit. But I mean, shit like that. Unfortunately, shit like that happens. But like, it would probably whatever new ruling this is, it will force the airlines not to be like they'll actually have to offer you something more or like
yes.
give you some kind of accommodations, like you said, meal or to some or a refund, like a partial refund. Like here's half, or a voucher for like another flight. Like you're still taking this flight, but like
Yeah.
we're gonna give you a voucher for something,
Yeah, something.
points that add up to a flight.
Yeah,
Everyone
that would
gets
be good.
10,000
Or
points. I don't know how it works, but like this is great. And this shit would never happen under Trump.
no.
None of this shit would happen under Trump. Oh, and then they announced like there was some other stuff. There was like some more trains that were announced, something from like
Okay.
Vegas to LA and like
Oh yeah, yes. So
like none of this shit would happen under Trump, man.
no. Well, and the
The
cool
whole
thing about all
predatory
those is
capitalists, they would let the airlines go crazy.
no, and those are all like regulations. They didn't have to go through Congress, they didn't have to legislate it. It was just Biden put good progressive people in key positions, and then they started making
And
regulations like this.
some assholes like, oh, this is an election year. He's doing that. No.
Good.
Yeah,
Smart.
good. And what did Trump do in the election year last time? Oh no, he spread COVID everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, like
He killed his friend. We're almost at the
ideally, yeah.
what?
Yeah. You talking about Herman Cain?
Yeah, we're almost at the 4-year anniversary of the death of Herman Cain.
Ideally, that's what happens is that the government figures out what the people want and then gives it to them. That's good. Like,
So I'm annoyed by the TikTok thing because I feel
yeah,
like that is the thing everyone's talking about. I'm like, who gives a shit about fucking TikTok?
yeah, and that's a
Like, what
year
the
off.
fuck? The three things I just mentioned to you are actual things that matter.
That'll start
TikTok
benefiting
does
people
not
like
fucking matter.
tomorrow. Yeah,
What?
that'll start benefiting people tomorrow.
Everyone. Not everyone. Like, yes, a lot of people use TikTok, but guess what? Most people don't use it that religiously. And if they do, they'll move on to something else.
Yeah, there's always something else.
There's always something else. That's the problem with all the streaming services that they realized was like, there's always something else.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to sit here and, keep Paramount, or if I don't like it anymore, I'll
No,
just
there's
turn it
always
off.
right. And if TikTok doesn't work, you can always go to like Hat Roulette, which is like a Lidsville type of app where you flip her
Hat roulette, yeah, where you could put hats on your
Hat
wiener.
Roulette.
And then
Yeah,
when it comes to you, you take the hat off and show
right.
it.
Well, the point
Lids
is
off.
that
You
like
go to Lidsville.
yeah, the point is that
Show
like
Lidsville.
oh, so
That,
terrifying.
that show was amazing.
Um that TikTok did get all the headlines, but like that's the least consequential thing that happened. That is frustrating.
That's the thing that bothers me. And people are like, Biden's going to lose the election because TikTok. Like,
Nah.
no. I'm not like, I'm sorry. Like, okay, well, then we're going to go into the next thing. Um, oh, wait.
Roseanne Barr. Roseanne,
No. Fine, yeah, let's talk.
Roseanne Barr.
This isn't in order of things. I might end up.
Well, the
Well, like,
next
okay, people like, oh, TikTok's so great because it spreads information out and
yeah,
like all this stuff that's getting out. Yeah, but it also spreads a ton of misinformation too, just like all social media apps. They all are either could be amazing and they could get get stories out and get important information out for the people that like the networks won't put out because it goes against whatever like corporate interest they have. But there's
yeah,
also a lot of bullshit on there too that spreads like wildfire.
yeah, yeah. I don't see it. TikTok's got a great algorithm, so I mostly see the kind of stuff that I'm legitimately interested in.
Right, but there's a lot of people seeing shit though.
Every once
And
in a
that's like
while,
all
oh
social media. It's not just
yeah,
TikTok, all social media. I just think
every
it sucks because three amazing things that actually have
yeah,
that
big
really
deals.
truly benefits people. They're financially, traveling, health, all that stuff.
Yep,
And it's all getting covered because a bunch of shitheads snuck in the TikTok thing into an important
yeah,
aid bill that
yeah.
Biden was going to sign. I think that 9 month thing is a way out.
Could be. Yeah, yeah. Well, and we may hear about that closer to the election. We may hear like,
Of course,
this
and
is
I
really
guarantee
what's
you, if Trump wins, TikTok is gone forever because he
oh yeah,
has a
yeah,
personal vendetta against TikTok.
yeah, yeah. Well, TikTok does skew young, and as a byproduct of that, it skews liberal. So,
But also, remember what TikTok did to that's the same place where Herman Cain was. The Tulsa, Oklahoma rally in
oh yeah,
it was either like end of May or June of 2020. All these kids on TikTok, they come like
right,
BTS on these people got these kids to like sign up.
yeah, that was hilarious.
They claim like the guy who is like Trump, that big tall goon who was like Trump's like media guy or whatever.
Yeah, Corey
He's like,
Lewandowski.
not him, it was that other guy. There was some other douche. There was like a video shortly of him getting tackled by the police like a couple days later. So I don't even know. I forgot his name. He was like the guy who got way too much credit for Trump's victory in 2016.
Oh,
He looked like a Goonier Chris Elliott.
oh
I don't know how to
Lord.
explain it, but whatever. He was just some computer douche.
Yeah,
And he promised like Trump there would be like millions of people at his rally. They had like
right, right.
flow. They had like a stage for overflow outside.
I
And
remember this. Yeah,
end up just being like maybe like 20,000 people there or something, which
right.
isn't like the worst thing, but it is bad when you build it up and make it look like there's going to be like
Yeah,
100 to 500,000 people or something. And
right. And it's nothing.
that was, and he had a vendetta against TikTok after that.
I do
And then,
remember
and
this.
they
Yeah.
showed that video of him after one of the funniest things, you got to look it up, is after that rally, because it was considered a dud, is him walking up the helicopter to the White House. He looks so
I
upset.
remember this photo too. His tie looks like it's down to his knees or something.
Yeah, his
Uh,
tie's open, like he has his buttons open, and he just looks like he is like
yeah, he got hammered.
rest. He got fucked, and it was done by like just the funniest little prank, and it was done on TikTok. So
Yeah.
if you want TikTok to you gotta make sure Trump doesn't win because he will.
Right. He will put an end to it.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of putting an end to it,
Yeah.
Roseanne Barr
Yeah,
came
this
out
is such a
and
weird story.
she put out a weird little video. She looks on screen. She said that like this is where Joe Biden raped me.
Yeah.
And I'm
It was
like, well, go ahead, what?
well, it was yeah. I mean, it was pretty clear she was uh satirizing like Stormy Daniels or something, or E. Jean Carroll.
Oh, really?
I thought so. It was like these people are just now remembering that Trump harmed them, and
Even
that's why it's
though they didn't, and this has been going on for like a decade now.
yeah. And there's, I mean, there's video and Trump explaining that he's done stuff like this, and but it was real shocking because she like explicitly was saying
This is
like
where
Joe Biden raped me and
this is
stuff
where
like that.
Joe Biden raped me.
Yeah. Um
Put her in
it
a
was
home already.
she's just like I don't know. She yeah, she seems like out there, like a little untethered.
Tom
Um
Arnold put out a funny tweet talking shit about her son. I guess her son is like her manager.
oh geez,
And
okay.
he's like her no good 50-year-old son who uses her. She should be like in a mental institution or something. Yeah, Tom
Right.
Arnold's great. He just comes out and just like
Yeah,
rips her
he's funny.
apart.
Yeah.
He is a big
Um
fuck. He,
it was
what a fucking way she is, man. She was
yeah.
supposedly this like champion of the working class and all that, and
Well,
see her like fucking moonlighting at fucking Mar-a-Lago all the time, wearing like looking like all the other weirdo freaks that go there all the time.
yeah, God. Where is she? Is she from Ohio
I don't
originally?
know. I don't know. I
Uh,
don't. We don't have to talk about it anymore. I just thought that was weird, but
yeah, she
I
is. Oh,
tweeted that
she's from Salt
Jabba
Lake
Joe had
City.
raped her.
Yeah, that's right. She's from
Roseanne
Salt Lake
Barr said that
City.
Jabba Joe raped her. What?
She's from Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. She always claims that she was like Jewish, but I guess it came out that like she was like raised Mormon. She's not Jewish at
Yeah,
all. Like she might have some like Jewish ancestry.
sure.
She's just said all kinds of anti-Semitic shit over the years, and she always
Yeah,
uses like her, well, I'm really Jewish as a cover. It's like you weren't raised
yeah,
Jewish. You're not Jewish. You really don't have a Jewish identity.
right.
Like
That doesn't work. Yeah, that's like, yeah. I mean, that doesn't work.
she puts out all the fucking George Soros memes and all that shit. So
Well, I have been seeing a lot of this like weird stuff from these kind of fringe peripheral MAGA people because Trump is like undergoing a series of trials this week, and I think there's a lot of effort to just distract from that. I don't know if it's like a coordinated effort, like Roseanne sat in on a phone call and said, "Okay, well, I'll do this. This is my part."
yeah, I mean, of
Uh,
course, they're gonna do whatever they can to like.
yeah, but there's big stuff going on with Trump this week.
All right, well, what's the first one, Joseph?
Well, the first one we were going to talk about is actually occurring tomorrow. He is going before the Supreme Court and asking that they establish that he has or presidents have absolute immunity, that they just can't be prosecuted for crimes. And that's being heard tomorrow. And
He goes there, he's like, listen here, girl judge, drunkie, weirdo, Uncle Tom, Scalia, calls him Scalia.
Gorsuch, Kavanaugh.
Yeah,
Um,
why Gorsuch? I mean, Kavanaugh's the drunkie.
yeah.
Uh, you guys owe me. You owe me. I put you in here.
Well,
You have to pay the piper now.
the 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 weird part is there is probably some legitimate the court should probably rule on what presidents can be immune from and what they can't. Like previously we wouldn't have thought that you needed to do that, but
What
now
did you
apparently
say
you
in our
do.
conversation earlier, Trump?
Oh,
No, because I said,
Biden.
doesn't this open the door for protecting Joe Biden?
Yeah,
Too, because he's actually the current sitting
current
president.
president.
So whatever
That
bullshit that the Republicans have been pushing for years about Burisma and all this dumb shit, that could just be completely thrown out because
yeah, that's the
he's doing
irony
president
here.
stuff.
If Trump wins, then like in theory, Biden could just refuse to not be president anymore, just cancel the election. I mean, there's things he could do that are just like,
that the Supreme Court would be opening the door to.
yeah. So a lot of people think that the subtle difference here is going to be dividing what one does as president versus what one does as a private citizen. The example I used is like if Joe Biden ordered that a squad of troops take a building and they accidentally kill civilians, then Joe Biden is immune from prosecution. But if Joe Biden walks home from a ball game and like chucks a grenade in the 7-Eleven, then he's liable because he wasn't functioning as president when he was doing that. It wasn't a presidential duty. So I think that's going to be the question. The thing to watch from my perspective, at least, is like, what does someone like Clarence Thomas do, whose wife is neck deep in these cases? Does he vote for Trump? Does he vote? I mean, like, it's, you wonder what the verdict here is going to be. Is it going to be 7-2, where they say you're not immune from every? Are they going to try to compromise? Or are they going to try to figure out a creative way to get Trump off the hook? Real hard to say, you know.
It's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, and I don't know. Hopefully, they just like I don't know, patronize him a little bit or placate him,
Yeah, I mean, I
and then
think
do nothing.
the best case scenario is that they do nothing. Is that they look and say like, yeah, this really isn't our a call for us to make.
I mean, I still wouldn't trust them at
No,
all.
no, I wouldn't either. It's real scary, but I wouldn't either. But that's the first big
I
Trump
mean, Trump's
thing.
basically just trying to do some dictator shit, and he's hoping that if he gets elected, he'll just be a straight up dictator. He'll
Yeah.
never like.
Well, he's setting if he wins these court cases and gets reelected, that's exactly what we have set up. But the first big court case this week is the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court ruling that's gonna be listened to tomorrow.
Mm,
But he's also on trial in Manhattan for fraudulently concealing checks he wrote and underreporting that to like New York authorities. Um, it looks like it's a real tight case against him. It looks like he's probably going to be found guilty.
yeah, I can see. Oh, I saw like all the people like Lord Boebert, like
Yeah.
what's happening to him is horrible. It's so funny. I just picture that lady crying after like Trump lost in the
Yeah.
election.
Oh,
Remember that
please
lady? Say
help us.
President Trump.
Yeah.
Like it's so sad and pathetic.
It's just weird. Like, I mean, there's just such overwhelming evidence that he's guilty of this. They have like his name's on checks. He signed checks. People saw him. There's just like a lot of evidence to say he did this. They just got to wonder like what is the penalty going to be? You know. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess in another way, they shouldn't be thinking about this, but like, what will that do politically? Is Trump being found guilty of these things? Is that going to turn off moderates? Is it going to make them double down to try to support him? Um, I don't know, but that's also a big consideration, you know.
I don't
Uh,
think I think the more he's in court, the more he looks like a fucking criminal, and the more he's found guilty, it's just gonna hurt him as running for president. I think that's the
yeah,
fact. Like I was listening to this one guy in TikTok, he brought up a good example. He's like, Trump's gonna lose. It's just the fact is he has to lose by a lot. We
right.
need to like put this MAGA shit to bed. Like people have to come out and vote. They're like, it doesn't matter. Like he brought up all these different examples saying like how Trump basically only won by like 70,000 votes in North
Yeah.
Carolina. In theory, Biden could totally crush him in North Carolina next election.
In theory, Biden should be able to compete in a lot of states.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean,
They
like,
even say
really should be able
Texas
to.
is
Yeah,
Texas is flippable. And believe it or not, it's flippable. Like,
I think it is. A lot of progressive people have moved here over the years. You know, uh, it is a state where a lot of people are feeling like, um, you keep promising lower taxes, but they keep going up. You keep promising better schools, but all we have are like hollowed out libraries. You know,
yeah,
I
I
mean, like,
mean, there's still too many dipshits in Texas. They're
yeah,
gonna
I would
vote
say
right
so.
wing, the
Yeah,
churches and stuff. They're gonna. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They're not gonna. They're gonna vote Republican no matter who it is. It could be
yeah.
like They're
I
just
think
going,
it's
but if enough people voted in Texas, it could go blue. That's the thing. I mean, like,
yeah.
I living there met a lot of people and they were very complacent. Like,
Well,
very
I
complacent
think a
thing.
lot of progressives feel like there's no point in
That's
trying.
stupid. If you're a progressive, you vote. Like, that's so
Yeah,
dumb. You're not a progressive. You're a fucking waste of time then. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, if you're claim you're progressive and you want all these things, you
Yeah,
have to
just show
vote.
up and vote.
You have to
It's not
vote.
that
Like
difficult.
voting's not the end all, but it is very effective.
Well,
Getting what
well,
you want. Like I said, those three things that Biden put through, to me, are a big fucking deal. And that would never happen under Republican
no,
president,
no.
ever. That's a huge fucking deal. And
Well,
it's going and it's buried. It doesn't matter. No one's gonna see that. No one's gonna see those accomplishments. It drives me nuts.
the other good argument to vote kind of comes leads into our next item with this list is that a whole bunch of Trump fake electors got indicted in Arizona today.
And you said it happened in Michigan also a
Yes,
while ago.
Yep, yeah, and Trump is also a unindicted co-conspirator in Michigan.
So Trump is could be on trial in other states after New York.
Yes, you generally, um, yeah, yeah, you could, um, and honestly, none of that would have happened in Arizona. That attorney general won by a very small number of votes. The governor won by a very small number of votes. But because the Democrats won in Arizona, now this is happening. Now that they arrested, or they haven't arrested yet, but they, I assume, put out
Who
arrest
is
warrants for
isn't it like one of his lawyers, that lady who isn't one of his lawyers anymore? What's her
Janet
face?
Ellis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's one of them.
it's
She's
a bunch
trying,
of,
like, all of a sudden she like quickly flipped and lawyers all of a sudden like, I don't like Trump.
yeah. Mark Meadows is in there. Some other guy, John Eastman is in there. Christina Bobb is in there. Christina Bobb's currently the director of election integrity for the Republican National Committee.
That doesn't
And
seem very integrity.
she's under indictment now in Arizona. She's gonna have a mugshot, you know. And they say that the Arizona case looks real solid. They have signatures. These people signed their names to documents, you know. They put it up on TikTok, I mean on Twitter, that they were doing this. So this case is the same as the one in Michigan. It's really the same as the one Fannie Williams is doing, Fannie Williams in
Fannie
Atlanta.
Willis?
I'm sorry, Willis. But this one looks real rock solid, and it's a real. They're only doing 9 uh charges. They didn't include Trump, so they might like hit the ground running with this one. You could see Rudy Giuliani in jail, like fucking tent prison in Arizona, you know?
Yeah, the Joe Pyro prison. I
Yeah.
seriously doubt that. He'll be like in some cushy.
Having to wear pink underwear and
Yeah,
sit in
Joe
the
Pyro. What a piece of shit. I remember like watching those videos and being
yeah, he
like,
was terrible.
this is awful. Why?
Well, he got drummed out of office.
It was
People got sick.
terrible.
Yeah, people got sick of his shit.
Well, he
They're
was
just
so corrupt. I think he was like taking all kinds of money and shit. And
he
he was
was, and he was costing that county a ton of money because they were getting sued all the time.
he had some
So
fucking show. He was trying to do like reality shows where they like capture immigrants and shit like that. It was like super fucked
Jesus,
up.
so stupid.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, so all these trials are going on. Depending on when the Supreme Court rules, the case down in Florida will resume. Uh, and he's got the Fawny Willis case in Georgia set to resume once they figure out if he's immune or not. So it's a grind. He is stuck in court for the foreseeable future.
well, I mean, he's not, regardless of whatever the fucking Supreme Court says, he's still going to be in New York, right?
Yes, yeah, that's a state charge.
And the same thing with Arizona, right? That's a state charge.
Yep,
And
Arizona, but
Georgia. Isn't
he
Georgia
wasn't
also?
indicted. Georgia is, but Trump was not indicted. He was an unindicted co-conspirator in Arizona.
Yeah. So it's more of just his idiots that work for him are going to go to jail.
Yeah, and who knows what they'll say when they're on the stand, So
Yeah. I
we'll see.
mean, why does people have so much fucking loyalty? I mean, he doesn't show any loyalty.
It's Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think some of them are true believers. They just believe he's like,
I think some of them are just like bottom feeders too. They use it as an opportunity to raise. They're like,
yeah,
like no talent or anything like that, and this is like an easy way to get attention. It's like
I
that guy, what's his name? Lynn Wood or whatever that fucking creep was. That
yeah, yeah, yeah. He has a real skeevy mugshot in the Atlanta case. Um, I don't know. I do think there's that. I think too, like some of these people, like we've both said before, a lot of them are like failed theater kids,
Oh yeah,
and they've been craving a stage, and Donald Trump, if nothing else, will provide a stage. And
yeah,
they just get caught up in the pageantry of it all and the excitement, and then they can't stop it. They're
yeah. Lena
in.
Haba putting out like
Yeah,
thirst trap videos of her eating like avocado.
yeah. It's just so fucking weird. They're all
Super
like,
weird. I want to like I wrote I said that chef reactions. He's gonna end up
yeah.
doing one on her.
Well, it's just, I think that's it. I think that they're just addicted to the grift, even if they don't make money off of it, they are addicted to that life now, that's lifestyle.
Well, it gets them invited on like right wing networks and stuff
Yep.
like that. There's still like this weird little media circle that
Go to
they,
parties, it supplements their income, you
yeah.
know. But now some of them are going to have to pay the piper, so good.
Well, you know what's not good?
What?
Everything going on with this college shit.
That is real sad. Did you see Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, go to Columbia University today?
No.
The Speaker of the House went to a private university in New York. This dipshit that like 48 people in Bug Tussle, Louisiana elected and somehow became
Yep.
Speaker of the House.
Never
And
even got
he,
elected. I thought that was like the joke
oh,
too.
that's right. Yeah. He goes to Columbia and he addresses the protesters and he tells them all to go back to class and stop wasting their parents' money. And it was really shocking. I
I'm
mean,
gonna make you
like,
guys use an app that me and my son use so I know when he's jerking off or when he knows I'm jerking
it
off.
was just like so crazy. Like these are not kids, these aren't kids protesting a ban on
They're voting,
halter
they're protesting
tops.
a genocide.
Yeah,
And of course, there's all these bad actors involved, like on the right. I mean, they use colleges as like this petri dish to like attack the left or
yeah.
try to like. They hate college. They really
They hate
do. They
college.
hate
It's
colleges.
has a real anti-college vibe. All of this has a real
Oh, that's
anti-college
all.
vibe.
That's all Charlie Kirk does. TPUSA.
Yeah.
Still anti-college stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Like he'll say things like college is expensive and all that. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. We know that, but he doesn't offer any solutions, you know?
well, I saw protests obviously at Columbia, and I saw them at there's a big one at University of Texas. There's one at USC.
Well, you're not going to believe it. The NYPD attacked the protesters. I'm so shocked.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I always
tech,
say this about protests. If the cops are just sitting there, then that protest is bullshit and it's usually something
yeah,
bad.
true.
But when it's an actual real cause that has to do with some kind of war,
Yeah,
an
legitimate
actual
stakes.
war,
Yeah,
something to do with a person getting murdered by the cops, like the George Floyd
right.
protests and all that, that's when you see the cops really how they are. And they go in and they beat the shit out of these protesters and arrest them on site. But when it's like some fucking militia coming in,
Yeah.
like starting shit, they just sit there, let them do whatever they want,
Or
look like they're concerned.
a school shooter in Uvalde. The
And they
Texas
sit there.
police just seemed a lot less engaged than
That
they
thing
did
to this day
today.
is so fucking gross, and they'll never be resolved. They'll
Yeah.
never, they'll never be resolved.
Well, you know what? That town had an election and they all voted for Republicans again.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did they really? Or did
Yeah.
they just have like a massive voter suppression there?
Well, it's a good point. But anyway,
Well, I imagine a
this
lot of people that live there that are the immigrants can't vote because they're not citizens.
that's
And this
true.
is the joke about the right wing. They always push like, oh, they're gonna allow people to come into the border and they're gonna vote for Biden. Like even fucking idiots like Elon Musk push that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Elon Musk tried. It was in that Don Lemon interview. He tried to say, "Oh no, I didn't mean like they can go vote. It's just it's
Right.
opening the door, like a generation."
Sure.
And it's like,
Sure.
motherfucker, that's not what you said. And even
These
then, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
what do you care? how people vote in 20 years. You fucking weirdo. Like,
The other weird backdrop to this is that so these college students are protesting a genocide,
and a lot of them are
and
Jewish.
a lot of
Really
them are.
fucked up
They
thing.
interviewed a bunch
There's a
of,
lot of
and
Jewish groups that
yeah,
are like they're protesting Israel.
right, and the Republicans are saying that all these kids need to be arrested, simultaneously saying that the J6 protesters need to be let out of jail and that they're
Yeah.
political
They're the
prisoners and
true, yeah.
hostages. It's really,
Or they're calling the protesters anti-Semitic.
yeah.
The ones who are Jewish that are
Well,
protesting Israel.
that's the guy from CNN or a woman from CNN interviewed Mike Johnson afterward, and he said that, well, they're being anti-Semitic, and she said, they're chanting "Free Palestine." What about that is anti-Semitic?
Yeah.
And he said, well, Hamas endorsed it, and she's like, well, terrorist organizations endorse a lot of shit.
Yeah, there's a lot
I
of
mean, like,
Nazis that endorse the United States.
yeah, I mean,
A lot
is
of
that
horrible people endorse the United States. What's your point?
right? And it was just, I don't know. I mean,
They
then
they
the
they stick to a script. Yeah, I'm seeing like people like
yeah,
Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, all them. They're trying to claim like they're not the ones who are anti-Semitic, while they push globalist conspiracies and
yeah,
push George
Soros
Soros and all
prosecutors,
that.
yeah,
These are all classic anti-Semitic like tropes. These motherfuckers are not your out. If you're Jewish, Ted Cruz and all these motherfuckers, Tom
yeah,
Cotton,
they're not
these are
in your
not your
corner.
allies. Mike Johnson is not your ally. Israel as a country is a satellite state that is used as a military, like a
It's a
military
military
satellite in the
base,
Middle
yeah,
East.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that is our interest there. I mean, like, obviously, the United States is interested in having some sort of strategic partner in the Middle East. Uh,
it's like who put Israel in there? The British and the United States
yeah,
after World War II.
it
I
is
mean,
weird.
like there's there's Jewish people in Israel, not just Jewish people, all different people who live in Israel, and they're protesting the war too. I saw some asshole tweet like, "Oh, it's too late for them to do that." What the fuck are you talking about? They
Yeah,
were there protesting from the beginning. You fucking anti-Semite. I hate these fucking people. There's a lot of these people are using what's going on in Israel to reveal what they
oh
are,
yeah,
which is a
yeah,
bunch of fucking anti-Semitic bigots. And I'm not talking about like the protesters. The people who are out there protesting and saying you want to get rid of genocide does not make you anti-Semitic.
yeah. I
But
think a lot
saying
of them are
shit
saying that.
like what?
Well, a lot of the people on the right are saying that there's been like attacks on Jewish students, but I've not seen any. I'm not doubting. I mean, maybe it is. I guess I am
There might be
doubting
some
it.
scuffles here and there. There was someone claiming their eye was poked out by a Palestinian flag. The right wing was like pushing this. None of that happened. They were saying
Yeah,
that
so that's. I
they're
guess
like
that's what I'm
someone
saying is.
poked a girl's eye out, a Jewish girl's eye out with a Palestinian flag. That did not happen.
Yeah, let's. Where is she? Can we talk to her? No,
Yeah,
you wouldn't know her. She lives in Canada.
yeah.
Um,
What did she does here? She flew.
yeah.
Used their magical Jewish powers.
Oh God.
Yeah, then the person on Fox kind of gets weird and becomes like really anti-Semitic.
Yeah, right. I knew they
You
had
know, the
flying
Jews,
powers.
how they use their magical powers.
Um, it is. It's just a
Wait,
gross
weren't you saying they're
situation.
the anti-Semites? No, we have always been the anti-Semites all
Yeah.
along.
Um, I don't know. I've seen these protests, and none of them seem violent. They all just seem like they're
They
protesting. You
usually
know?
aren't. Even the fucking
Yeah.
George Floyd ones weren't violent. Fucking cops made it violent. The Proud Boys showing up and the Boogaloo Boys and all these fucking people. Kyle Rittenhouses. Those are the ones that made it violent.
Yeah. I don't know. It's real gross though that like.
I just think like I can't. I hate talking about it. And like I
Yeah,
said,
that's it. It's tough to talk about.
it really opens the door for a lot of fucking anti-Semites. I saw some asshole. I met this guy one time when we lived in Texas, and he posted some picture, and it was like supposed to be like the actress accepting their award,
Oh yeah, yeah.
at the Oscars, and
Right.
it was Gollum crying with an Israeli flag and a dress, and I was like, I left the comment like, why is it this character?
Yeah.
He didn't respond. He
It's
went private or something on that
yeah, I'll
conversation.
bet.
So I just got rid of him. Like I'm not. I mean, I barely know you anyway. I just
Yeah.
dropped him as a friend, and I should have reported it. Like I said, it's anti-Semitic as shit.
Yeah.
Why is it Gollum? What the fuck? What
It
is
is.
this?
It's like
How does this help the Palestinian cause?
yeah.
Doing this, like, like you think some Palestinian family lost their home? They're like, oh, thank God you put out those anti-Semitic
Right,
memes.
right.
You're the true hero here.
Yeah. But
You're the
yeah,
hero. Thank you.
it has brought out the absolute worst in a lot of people. Um,
That's what even like a lot of the Jewish people saying in these groups that said like this is the kind of shit that's gonna make like it more dangerous to be Jewish. Not because like what Israel's doing, it's a fact,
right.
but like it just opens the door. But people think they're emboldened and they could get away with it. It'll be socially acceptable to attack a Jewish person. I'm not talking about, and I want to make it clear when people listen to this has nothing to do with the genocide. This is not to take away from what's
Mhm.
going on in Gaza. This is not to take away from the Palestinian people. I'm talking about how this will have ramifications for Jewish people in the United States, around the world, where people who have hold decades old hatred to people of religion they barely know,
Yeah.
it will open the door to allow them to use certain words as cover, like they like using the word Zionist a lot. Most people don't. Oh, I love that. They're like, well, I'm not being anti-Semitic when I say Zionist. I see Zionist is
Mhm.
different from Judaism. It's a thing. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Most regular, everyday people
They aren't going to get that
don't know the
nuance.
difference.
Yeah.
What?
They aren't going to get that nuance.
They're not going to
Yeah.
understand that nuance. Not
Yeah.
everybody's in your fucking college course. No one knows. The
Right.
average
Right.
person is going to see the word Zionist and be like, that motherfucker's an anti-Semite. Because
Yeah.
growing up, the people that whenever I see the word Zionist or something, it was like in some Nazi comic.
Yep.
It was used by bigots, anti-Semites, Nazis, and everything like that. They'd use that terminology. So when you adopt that language, like I get it. Like there's this historic. It's this communication war here. If you want people on your side, you have to like. This is why the Republicans have always been very effective. Like Clean Air Act.
Right. Sorry.
It's clean air. You don't like clean air?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot
You're
of
not
it is
pro
it's that
life.
Frank Luntz.
You're not pro
Yeah.
life. What are you, some
It's
kind
that
of
Frank
monster?
Luntz approach to language that's
It's
like
not even, it's so
really
simple. It's not
yeah.
even like, oh, he's a genius. It's so simple. You just say
Yeah.
clear air act. How can you argue? Pro-life. How can you argue with someone who's pro-life? What are
Death
you, a
death
devil?
tax.
What are
Yeah.
you? Yeah, the death tax. That's horrible. You're taxing the dead. What? They're gonna take your farm away. It's like
Mm.
yeah, this language is important. When you just flinging around words, you sound like a fucking bigot. May
Yeah.
not mean it. Who knows? But I think there's an undercurrent of people who are gonna use
Oh,
this
for sure. Yeah.
to put out not anti-Semitic memes. To build, I hear people say words like "dirty Zionist." Like, huh? Well, that sounds you getting
Right.
close there. You're getting close there. Maybe change the word Zionist to what you really want to say.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it,
I am skeptical when people start throwing that around. I mean, it's like,
it,
ugh,
it it's, and again, does not take away. I don't like what Israel's doing. I don't support what they're doing.
right,
I don't support the people who completely uh endorse what they're doing. Now someone will say,
right.
oh, well, Joe Biden's doing that. He's the fucking president of the United States.
Yeah,
Fuck am I gonna do? It's him or fucking Trump. Trump's gonna be 100 times worse.
right. Yeah, yeah,
I'm sorry. He's just going to be. You'll have you will what you're seeing in that college will be in every fucking college in the country if he's president.
for sure.
And in
Yeah,
the streets. Guy's a fucking like lunatic. He'll say all kinds of crazy shit and he'll get all kinds of people riled up. And there'll be so much violence in the United States, let alone what's going on in Israel.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't take it. It's like
Well,
it's like a nightmare.
it is. This is kind of like a minor side point of it, but that you were the one who pointed out that Alec Baldwin clip,
Oh God, this
where
is
he's confronted by a protester of sorts, I guess.
some YouTuber asshole.
Yeah.
This girl, I forgot what her name is. She's actually like a weird little internet celebrity, something crackhead or crackhead Barbie.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she was just going in there. She wears like a bikini and she's just like a joke, but like, let me look her up. Crackhead Barbie. She was on like Pierce Morgan had her on and she
Yeah.
like made herself look bizarre. She was like her face was painted white. She looked like a fucking lunatic. And Hassan was like, well, why would you have her on? You spoke to a person named
Right.
Crackhead Barbie.
Right.
Did you expect to have a serious conversation with her?
Yeah.
So she I guess I'm pretty sure it was her.
Like accosted Alec Baldwin, right?
Alec Baldwin, I guess, has a coffee shop or something. I think it was his place or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know it was his. I
I
assumed
think
it was just
so.
a coffee shop.
Yeah, I don't think it was just some, I think it might be his. I don't know. I could
Okay,
be,
cool.
but the video is just her harassing him, calling him basically a murderer, calling him a murderer and all that, just saying really nasty shit to this guy. And then on top of it, like she starts then saying like, say free Palestine, fuck
Right.
Zionism, free, and then she's going on. She sounds really fucking nasty. And it's like, what the fuck does this have to do with Palestine?
Yeah.
You're harassing Alec Baldwin because of what happened on the movie set.
Yeah.
He was handed a gun. It was loaded. He was doing his job as an actor. It should not have been a loaded gun.
Well,
And
they're
something
harassing
horrible
him because
happened.
of
And
his Trump impersonation. I mean,
what?
if it was, they're harassing him because because of his
Well, I
Trump
wouldn't say this
impersonation.
woman's a right winger that was harassing him. She's
Yeah, that's
just a
probably fair to
fucking
say.
rabble
Yeah.
rouser. It's more just like, well, it's Alec Baldwin. I mean, he's a known, kind of a known prick
Yeah.
anyway, so it's like an easy target.
Yeah.
But you go in there and you're harassing, but then what do the Palestinian people in Israel have to do with Alec Baldwin? Did Alec Baldwin
Yeah.
say he
It's
spoke
an
to?
odd fit.
And if he did, who gives a shit? What the fuck is like? Get the fuck out of here! He like ends up like pushing around and good,
Yeah. I think I saw the tweet,
gross.
and a lot of like some right winger put it up saying like this is why Alec Baldwin should be in prison. And the community note said like no, what he did is perfectly legal in like every state. Like if someone is doing that to you, you have the right to, push back or
Like
something
that
to that
guy who
effect.
shot that YouTuber.
Yeah,
Remember? The
right.
guy was like annoying him and he just pulled the gun and shot her.
Lucky
Shot the
you
guy
didn't
in the gut.
lucky you didn't get written housed. I
I
mean
mean,
like
she's a shithead, dude.
yeah.
Don't give this bitch any attention. She sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And like,
Um
but like, what the fuck does Palestinian people suffering and Israel and everything have to do with fucking Alec Baldwin? And like,
Zero. Yeah,
it's so
he's not a known
stupid.
advocate on either side, really. I mean,
I
it's
don't
not
know
like,
what he is. I'm sure he'll probably and if he is a pro-Israel or who gives a shit?
yeah,
Like the guy's got his own fucking problems. He's still facing possible going to jail.
probably, yeah, yeah.
Well, he was the producer of the movie. I guess that's why they said like, "Oh, you like
Jeez.
hired these idiots or something." I don't know. I'm sure he'll be fine in the end. He's not gonna, but I would imagine he's wrapped up in guilt that a person's
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
I mean, like you literally killed someone. Like
Right, yeah.
you didn't think you were going to. You didn't wake up that day going, "I'm gonna go
No, it's
murder
gotta be
somebody.
terrible.
I'm gonna go do the
Terrible.
job I've been doing for the past 40 years." And
Yeah,
murder someone by accident. You know what I
right.
mean? Like that's gonna be like a nightmare. Like you've been in tons of
Mm,
movies and TV shows. It's never happened. And then
yeah.
it should never happen. But like
No, no, but like, yeah, I'm sure he
it's a
didn't.
thing that would you would never think would happen. It's like, well, playing make believe. Why would there be a loaded
Yeah.
fucking
And
gun?
he's on legitimate sets. He's not like doing like a student film shot,
Snuff film.
like, yeah, it's like,
I mean,
these
but
are,
this girl's a shithead.
mm,
It was gross. I listened to the whole thing and it's just like she just sounds
mm,
repulsive.
yeah,
She's
that's
so
gross.
nasty. Like so nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, again, it's like, and I wrote on Summer Street, I'm like, Alec Baldwin or not Alec Baldwin, like his reaction is exactly how it should have went down.
Yeah.
And if anything, I give him this. He kept his cool for way too
He
fucking long.
really did. He entertained. He's probably developed that skill over.
I'm sure
I'm
he's
sure.
been harassed over the past year. I'm
Yeah.
sure but this is like,
It's
and
awful.
this isn't even. I'm like, let's be clear. This is some YouTube asshole. This is like that fucking baked Alaska guy. These are people who go in and they harass people, and it's for their clicks and for
Right.
their
Yeah. It's
content.
just for their internet clout.
The fuck out of
Yeah.
here. This isn't like some moral thing. So yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think the Palestinian people are like, thank you. Thank you for I was
Yeah.
I lost my family, but when I saw that you harassed American actor Alec Baldwin, it gave me hope
Yeah.
that a
Right.
better tomorrow could happen.
No
Thank you,
one's saying
Crackhead
that.
Barbie.
Right.
Thank you, Crackhead Barbie. You
Oh.
saved me.
Is it Barbie or Barney?
You know what? I think it's Crackhead Barbie.
Yeah. So awful.
Yeah,
Can't believe.
here's the picture of him like throwing her out.
Nice. Good.
Because
Good,
she
good.
looks like a fucking whack pack person from Howard
Yeah,
Stern.
the whole thing smacked of Howard Stern, to
Yeah,
be
here
honest
she
with
is
you.
on Pierce Morgan. You see that? Got
Yeah.
a blonde wig
Oh,
on. It's kind of
jeez.
funny because she's wearing like a cast. It is actually pretty funny. I mean, that's pretty good. It's like Married with Children where they all of a sudden have a neck brace
Yeah.
in court like the next day. Like the fact like, why would Pierce Morgan even talk to her?
Yeah.
This is a
Uh,
serious British voice.
right. Mm,
Let me play like a clip and then I'm not gonna
yeah.
play the whole thing because it's like 4 minutes
Right.
long.
Not particularly, no. Do you want to sit down? Yes, can you bring me to Buckingham Palace? I would like to meet the Queen. Well, I'll tell you what. I'd really like to meet the Queen.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
she's
Oh,
a goof and whatever. All right,
yeah.
I
All right.
talked too
So
much about crackhead Barbie.
the next group of things are all kind of these state level things. Tennessee, these are two separate things they're trying to do in Tennessee. One is that they have recently passed a bill to arm teachers, let teachers carry weapons. And this is becoming more common. There's a couple states in the South that do this, but they've also passed a law or are trying to pass a law to protect the hallowed Tennessean practice of cousin fucking. They want to be able to marry their cousins.
Very important that cousin stuff is preserved in the
It's
Tennessee.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre, that I don't know.
So
Uh,
that's it. They wanted to make sure that people could fuck their cousins.
yeah. Well, one of the representatives said, like, that's how I met my wife. And they're going on like, oh, a lot of my
At
constituents
the
marry their
family
cousins.
reunion orgy, I met my wife.
Right. Their theory is that like a lot of people in these smaller towns that have kind of like overpopulated themselves, there's a lot of them are related, I
God,
mean,
the eyes must be so close to each other.
I think they're like, flounder, like if they live long enough, their eyes can move to like
Yeah,
to be
a
on
lot of
both.
people who look like sloth live there.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, I mean, like if I'm sure Tennessee, North Carolina's done a good job over the years of trying to rebrand itself as like a tech center or whatever. And they just gotta like shake their head when someone brings up like a cousin fucking initiative.
Us
Um
cousin fuckers are proud people.
right.
Thank God. We worked tirelessly to make sure this bill passed for us cousin fuckers. My cousin wife.
Yeah. Um it's bizarre. Now Tennessee is starting to turn a little bit, but it's still solidly Republican, and they've passed some crazy laws this year. It's bizarre.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
Next door in
Oh,
Mississippi,
wait, what
they
was the other one oh, you said something about guns or there was another
oh
Tennessee.
they well they the deal was that teachers could carry weapons, guns. Um
Can't stand that shit.
that happened in Florida. Most teachers didn't carry guns,
No
um
teacher should be carrying guns.
nah,
None.
it's
None. No
ridiculous.
one should be carrying a gun in school.
It's just like I
Except for the Ed
taught
209 robot that works that sits at the doorway.
I taught, and
Why?
it would just be, I mean, like you would just as easily like shoot a student you were trying to protect. I don't know, it just
Exactly. You're gonna like, come on, get the fuck out of here with this Chuck Norris shit.
yeah. And the way school shootings work is like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a practical solution.
It's
Uh
not. And
yeah,
I feel like that's intentional. I mean, they just want to make it, if they can make it, the more they like normalize guns in every part of your life, you will never see any gun regulation laws. That's the whole main goal. They know that guns are not good at a teacher having a gun. Like, yeah, maybe in like 1 out of 100 chance
Sure.
they take out the shooter.
Yeah, I
One
would
out,
say greater than
whatever.
that, like 1 out of 1,000, but yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not a good solution. But the reality is, if you open the door that the teachers can have a gun, well, then that's now makes the argument to ban guns even harder. Because
Yeah.
it's all about normalizing it, making it that seeing people, you go to Starbucks and you see a moron with a gun.
It also
It's like,
discourages progressives from teaching,
yeah,
you
it's
know.
intimidation factors. It's like,
Yeah.
it's disgusting. But I think that's really the main one. The more you make guns acceptable in places where there should be no guns, the
Right.
argument against them gets harder and
It's
harder.
it weakens it. Yeah. And I still think that some of this stuff is designed to keep progressives out of the teaching profession to like,
Yeah. It's also an attack on public education,
yeah.
attack on,
Well,
it's like DeSantis, like, I want to have like, I'll
yeah.
let like any veteran come in and they don't even have to like, they
Just
don't even have to
teach,
go
yeah.
through like a master's degree or whatever. What do teachers have to get? Most teachers usually have
In
to get
Florida,
like,
just a bachelor's.
okay, yeah, but you don't even need to have that in education because you're a
Uh,
veteran, proudly served. So go ahead and teach I don't know,
teach
teach
calculus.
theology or something. Like,
Yeah, it is bizarre. I mean, yeah,
only thing I
yeah.
know is a course that I could do is on PTSD, Mr. DeSantis.
Remember back to
Seen
school,
things, done things.
you're gonna have a
Oh,
bunch
you'll be perfect. Go out there and teach all the kids.
bunch of teachers like Sam Kinison and back to school.
Yeah.
Like,
All I see are the screaming children that were on fire. When I see the students, Mr. DeSantis, I see
yeah.
the children that are on fire.
Oh God.
That's perfectly normal.
That means it's working.
If they're not on fire, that at some point they will be.
Well, right next door to Tennessee, Mississippi passed a Confederate History Month.
The guy who looks like Peter Griffin, the
Yeah, he
governor.
does. He looks like Peter Griffin. His name is Tate. What is it? Tate. Tate.
Like having a contest with Stitt over the dumbest name.
Yeah. Stitt's pretty dumb.
The governor of Oklahoma, Stitt.
Yeah. Kevin Stitt. Tate, what is it? Tate Reeves. It's like some weird Confederate History Month or something. It's just bizarre.
And it's so gross because again, it's like shitting on Black History Month and like
Yeah.
Pride Month and all that. It's just gross. It's like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And again, this is like the distractions from like doing real. Isn't Mississippi the fucking which state is the one where Brett Favre like stole a ton of money?
I think that's Mississippi.
And wasn't it with the help of that governor?
I think it was a different governor. And now that I'm saying that, let's see, Favre.
Maybe it wasn't Mississippi. Maybe that might be.
It wasn't Alabama. It's Mississippi. Yeah.
It wasn't that governor?
No, I don't think it was that governor. I think it was a different governor. God, what a shithole. Anyway,
it's just lame. It's just like just wear a Confederate flag hat and get it over with, you dumbass. Like,
put on the robe, right?
What?
I mean, like, let's put on the robe.
Yeah,
That's
just wear the
you wanna
fucking
do.
Klan robe already, dude. Like,
in Missouri, they are trying to pass a law where if a teacher uses a child's pronouns and those pronouns don't conform to the kid's gender,
biological gender.
yeah,
then
the
born
teacher
gender.
will go to prison and then have to register as a sex offender.
It is a class 1. They will be listed as a sex offender. Yes. Yeah. And if they are one, that means that they basically are fired because they're not allowed to be like 500 years in a school or something like that.
There's so many people that do this, and I kind of get the idea of what they're talking about. Like, they mean like egregiously or whatever, but like everyone at some point, like if you and your wife went to a restaurant and she went into the restroom and the waiter came by, you'd be just as likely to say, oh, they'll be right back, as you would, she'll be right back. Because we often use they as a singular pronoun. It's natural
Well,
for
I
people
don't
to
know
do
if
that.
they, them is the thing that'll get you arrested or whatever. It's the former
Yeah.
male, and you refer to them as she, her, then you're a pervert, and you're like, it's so gross. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. And again, it works in two ways. One, it's fucking disgusting. It's anti-trans, anti
Yep. Yeah.
non-binary. It's just anti-LGBT. It's like just bigotry for bigotry's sake. But the other thing is, again, attack on public education.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is you're going to make sure a teacher gets fired because they're going to slip.
Yep.
With this law. They're going to slip, or I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's so dumb. You can't function. You can't have a functional school.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
designed to make the school collapse. It's designed to get rid of
Another
good
thing.
teachers.
Yeah, it's designed to get good teachers out of the profession, replace them with like, the worst.
PTSD war
Yeah.
guy. Oh, I see.
Or like right-wing ideologues,
Yeah.
people that
People that will be like, I think we need to have God in the
Yeah.
classroom.
If
And
you look at
I'll
those,
be one of those teachers that sneaks a crossing on the wall.
if you look at those weirdo Christian schools, they turn out basically 3 or 4 kinds of student: teachers, nurses, lawyers. That's what they're turning out. All those Christian programs, they want to crank out lawyers that'll go sue people for religious freedom thing. They want nurses because they think it's a good way to evangelize to people that are like stuck in a hospital bed.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're
have a
in bed,
tube
and
down
it's
the,
like, let me tell you about
yeah,
Matthew.
right. And teachers, they turn out tons of teachers.
Yeah.
They want the progressives out of the teaching career so they can fill it up
And
with
by
these.
progressive, they mean like normal people.
Yeah. Not even
They're not even
progressives.
anything
Like,
progressive. They're just like normal people who don't have like
yeah.
some fucking insane religious agenda.
And I'll tell you, a lot of people think teachers are liberal. I'd say I met far more radical right-wing teachers than I did radical left-wing teachers.
Especially in that last school in
Yeah.
where I used to live, where you live. Most
Yeah,
of those
I
teachers
was.
were right wing as fuck. I remember one of the teachers Roger has, or I don't know if he had her, but
Oh,
he could have had her. She liked Milo Yiannopoulos on her Facebook page. We were like,
yeah,
I mean, like, that's not even right wing. That's like,
that's just
you're
like,
fully
yeah.
in. You know who
Uh,
Milo Yiannopoulos is, and you're right wing. You
Yeah.
ain't just some like casual, like,
No, you're not a
"Oh,
dabbler.
I caught what Hannity said last night, and he was right." No, you are fully in.
Yeah. Well, the last thing in this group is kind of an interesting one, and it's related to the Missouri thing. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, sued a hospital in Washington State and asked for all their records having to do with anybody from Texas that went there to get gender conforming surgery. And the hospital said, no, we're not giving it to you. And eventually they wound up.
Ken Paxton with his weird eye, weird dead eye. Give me
Yeah.
I want the records. I need to. Do you have photos? I need.
So
to see
he
photos.
got they settled.
They settled by saying "fuck off."
No, they settled by saying we're not going to give you any records, but
We'll describe it to
we but they also said that they agree not to open any hospitals in Texas, which they never had any plans on. It was a Washington
Yeah, what does that
hospital.
mean? Like the Seattle, what I guess this has to do with abortion, right?
No, this had to do with gender conforming surgery.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
They were looking at like, hey, did you operate on like, because like currently, if a kid in Texas, or a young adult or whatever wants puberty blockers or something like that, that's illegal. They can't have them. So
Yeah.
you would have to go to a hospital
They
elsewhere,
weren't,
physician
but now they
elsewhere.
are.
Right. So the weird thing here, and this is the kind of, I don't know where this stands. I don't know if anyone does, but the weird thing is a quirk of the argument was that this hospital employed people in Texas remotely. They did like, I don't know, some sort of HR work or something like
Oh,
that.
whatever. He's a creep.
Yeah, he's the absolute worst.
And
But
he's a fucking criminal anyway. He should have no business doing anything.
they dismissed those charges.
He shouldn't even be in fucking politics. That guy
No.
should be in a fucking jail cell.
Well, it is weird because you see now a lot of the Republican states kind of moving to restrict the rights of the people living in them. I wonder if we're going to see like an exodus. Like the Supreme Court today heard arguments about Idaho's abortion law, and basically they're saying like if we don't have to offer exceptions for the health of the mother. And the Supreme Court is hearing that today, and several of them are clearly going to vote that is the case. That like,
of course, it'll go through. It'll go through.
Well,
Hasn't it gone through already a bunch of times?
Yeah, no, not this particular question. But you wonder, like, will women start leaving Idaho?
I mean, you're in danger. You could die.
Yeah.
You could literally die. A pregnancy could be a death sentence for women. Now, in some cases, it can be, unfortunately, but there's a lot of preventative ways to make sure that doesn't happen. But these states are making sure it will happen.
Well, I saw Gavin Newsom is basically extending residency privileges to doctors in Arizona. He's basically said, like, look, if you're an abortion care provider in Arizona, we'll let you practice if your license is in good standing in Arizona, you can practice in California. No charge.
Yeah.
You know. Now that doesn't like fix the problem per se, because like that helps the doctor, but it doesn't really help the patient. They got to now travel.
Well, it doesn't help the patient either way because they made it fucking. Did that go through in Arizona?
It did, and then the Arizona House voted tonight to repeal it, and it passed. They got through, and now the Senate has to repeal it. And if both repeal it, they're thinking it might, then it will go to Katie Hobbs's desk, and she'll sign it.
Fuck off.
Well, no, she'll sign it, and there'll be no law.
Like she'll sign the thing that gets rid of it.
Right. So it could be because several Republicans voted to get rid of it.
They're going to lose so fucking hard.
They know.
And Arizona is not Mississippi. Arizona, even Missouri's like a little fucked. I mean, they voted for, isn't that the fucking state with that dipshit? What's his name? That fucking weirdo.
Josh Hawley, I think.
Yeah. Guy's not even from there.
He lives in Virginia. So we'll see. Anyway, all that happened. Those are all like the weird state level things. Which leaves us with two topics. Both are pretty funny. Well, first one has to do with George Santos.
Say the word.
No.
I'm not saying it.
George Santos. When I was a kid, within the popular consciousness, there was this organization, and it was like the North American
something
Love Association.
Association,
right? Yeah. And it was real gross, and it was like a joke. Like people would make jokes about it.
Is it a real thing?
I think so. I'm gonna say I don't know, and I'm not gonna Google it.
You don't want that on your search.
I don't want that in my search history.
Is NAMBLA real?
Right.
Why do you want to know?
Where is it located?
Doing a Pete Townsend. That's all. I'm just doing a.
What are the membership requirements?
Yeah. What's the cutoff? Like.
So, someone ordered a Cameo and said their name was this organization.
How long is it?
It's like a minute long, maybe less.
I know. He just says this like generic thing.
Yeah.
And it's all so like generic, positive, like you're doing great things, keep up the work. And then it ends with him basically saying,
well, it starts out with him saying it too. He's like, because he
says,
yeah, the way the video shot makes it seem like the person said, "Hi, my name is like NAMBLA Jones, and I would like you to give me a cameo, addressing me by my first name." Like, hey, and so he starts out, he's like, and he pronounces it differently. He's like, "Hey, NAMBLA, this is George Santos," and he's like.
NAMBLA.
Yeah, he's like,
Hey, Nambla. Stupid voice he has.
Yeah.
That
You're
fake thing
doing
he
great
does.
things, and I'm so proud of you. And anyway, it was
Hey,
like
did you hear about this? Did you hear about this Nambla? I heard they're doing really good things. I heard they're
yeah,
Trump talking about no. That'd be a good
it's
trick him.
it's really funny. I mean, and this has happened to a couple of different people. They did one to I think uh Chris Christie got snagged up in one of these where he read something that was kind of stupid and afterwards realized it.
But it wasn't
Uh Knew it was
Nambla.
not non-blood. Yeah, I
Well,
don't.
what's funny is shortly after, and I don't think it's related, but shortly after George Santos dropped out
Yes, yeah,
because he's running as an independent, I guess,
yeah,
for Congress.
right. And he dropped out and endorsed the Republican.
That was like
Yeah,
immediately after the timing of
yeah.
it was
It was like the
like,
same day. It's like,
remember when he showed up at he's done. His time is, I mean, we brought it up. We only brought it up because this is like really funny, but
yeah, yeah.
like he showed up at the State of the Union and
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he looked like he was like a flamboyant
it's like a Truman Capote character or
Phantom of the
something.
Opera.
Yeah,
Like he should have wore if he was smarter, he should have wore a Phantom of the Opera mask.
yeah,
And that would have been like really fucking funny.
right.
Could have
That would
like
have been
just
good.
moved around the
Yeah,
home, different places, and he could have like took his cape because I think he was.
right.
It was all like jeweled. It was really it
Yeah,
was silly. It was like, look at me, everybody, I'm still a thing. Remember me? But if he
right.
was smart, he would have wore the
That would
Phantom.
have been funny. That would
Yeah.
have been really funny.
And then it'd be really cool if he wore the Phantom of the Paradise outfit. You don't know.
Well,
You never see it.
yeah.
Did you ever see that
Or
movie?
yeah, with that singer.
Yeah.
He sang the hell of
Always.
it. Uh it would have been even funnier if he did the Muppet version, Phantom of the what remember the Phantom of the Muppet Theater that would go around with TNT and bomb things?
I don't think he was the Phantom though. He would just
What was
bomb things. He was like a weird, strange
what is like the
character.
Phantom of the Theater or something?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway. All right. So our last item is Tesla's stock price. Uh and Tesla, okay, so I got Tesla's stock chart up here. It was it hit its peak in 2022. It was up to about $300 per share, and now it's down to 162. They did a survey. Their sales dropped by about 40% because Democrats stopped buying his vehicles.
Well, CEO of the head of the company posts Nazi memes
Yeah.
and posts he actively goes against causes that Democrats the
Yep.
progressives and left liberal whatever champion. He showed his ass multiple times. He's right wing
Yes.
as fuck. He's a right wing, he's part of that right wing circle. He pushes right wing politicians. And it makes no sense because historically that party is one doesn't recognize
Right.
climate change or global warming of any kind. They actively vote against it. They've
Yep.
actively put in like any type of curbing and stopping any
Right.
kind of progressive change could help the environment. And this and he's so egregious about it too. Like he's such a dick about it.
He's
Like
very abrasive.
and
Yeah.
there are other companies that make electric cars. They're not the
Yeah.
only one.
I'll tell you, I would have been a prime candidate for like a Tesla before. I love tech. I love like green products. I mean, like it seems like Taylor built for me. And I would never buy a Tesla now.
I would
You
never
know what I
buy
mean?
it
Like,
anyway, just because I've heard like, yeah, the car's supposed to be like goes like super fast, supposedly, and
yep.
like the casings are made like shit. I've seen so many bad reviews of like just how sloppy they are.
Yeah. I mean, I look, maybe they get rid of Elon Musk or they change, whatever. I'm not saying I will never buy a Tesla because I do like the idea behind them and a lot of them look sharp, but
I saw this one guy said that the future of Tesla is batteries. They're not even going to be that the cars aren't even going to be the thing that they're going to be in 10 years.
yeah,
They're just going to be like an energy, a battery company. Like they're
right.
not going to be, which honestly, that would be maybe smarter,
Yeah,
um, and they could sell it to all the other companies and shit. I don't know. But
right.
I think with him attached to it, he's just so gross. He's like he's a literal troll. Like
Yeah.
that's all he does. at either.
Yeah.
So
He's
why,
just
yeah, why would you're turning off your customer? And it's only,
just
they
seem
say 40%, isn't it? Like
40.
more?
No, well, it was 40%. His sales dropped by 40%, and it was just Democrats stopped buying his car. That was the thing.
Sure, a lot of other people have stopped. It's just like,
Yeah.
again, there's other cars on the market. And they talked about this. This asshole's been promising a lower price car for
Yeah.
years.
Not
They're
coming.
never gonna do it. And then they kind of backpedal. They're like, "Oh, we'll have a lower model, but it won't be as cheap as you think. Like,
Right.
it won't be
Yeah.
27,000." They don't have the ability to produce it. That's the fact. They don't
Yeah.
really know what they're doing when it comes to that. They vote. That's the one thing I never liked about him. This is years before all this bullshit.
Mhm.
One thing I never liked about him was I didn't believe he deserved all the credit. They would give him, like, he's the one saving the world. He took advantage of the grievance against the Bush
Oh,
administration for destroying the EV1,
yeah.
making sure the EV1, having the GM or whatever the company was at the EV1, they pulled them, got rid of all of them. I think there's like a couple in a museum or something,
Right.
but like they did everything to make sure that they the early 2000s we were supposed to have like electric cars and all that, and the Bush administration come in, and all of a sudden you have these giant dumb SUVs that get nothing, no mileage, and start the Iraq War and all that. It's like
Crazy. Yeah.
everything,
Went
all these horrible
backwards.
things. What?
Went backwards.
Yeah, like when Clinton was leaving, and it was like the promise of the future, and like maybe Al Gore would be president, and like
Right.
we'd have electric cars. I did a whole thing on EV1 in college. We did like a campaign, and it was like, this is the future. This is where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Bush comes in, and everyone's driving these stupid Hummers, like those
Right.
dumb Hummers. Like, remember those
Yeah.
ugly
Oh,
ass
yeah.
things? They
Yeah.
weren't like the Humvees, like the wider
No,
ones.
they had it was like a smaller sports utility version of the Hummer.
Yeah, and they got like 5 gallon, like 5
Yeah.
miles per the gallon. I mean, like, it was so gross. But like, he comes along and he gets all this credit, all this social credit
Yeah.
for being this like environmentalist and putting through the batteries and doing all this stuff. But like, it's a luxury car. He never had a low price model, or even like what we call like a medium price model, or the average worker price.
Sure.
The person who makes at the time, we'll say back in early 2000, the average person who made 40,000 a year should have been able to get a fucking Tesla. They
Yeah.
could fucking afford it.
Mm.
And he turned it was like a overrated luxury brand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he's definitely lost his
he's a
way. Like,
liar. He's been promising a lower price one for decades.
yeah,
It never
I
got
remember
delivered.
that.
What?
I remember that. There was one was supposed to come out a couple years ago, swearing there'd be another one. I think he
Never.
mentioned
And
something
like I
tonight
said, they're
about it.
getting closer, but don't expect it to be that cheap. It's like, get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Yep, there's always some unforeseen thing.
So I think there's a lot of that. It's not just his politics suck. I think it's just the promise, and then what do? They roll out that dumbass car.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dumbass car. Like, yeah, when you see it, it's kind of fun. It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
sure.
Like, I ain't gonna lie. I found it to be kind of funny. I was like, what? It was interesting. It stood out like a sore thumb. It was like a Pegasus flew by or something. It's like, that's not a thing I see every day. This is
Right.
weird. Like, are they filming a movie down the block? Are they making Demolition Man 2? Like, what's going on?
Too, yeah.
Like, so that's why I always kind of hated him, because I felt like he was getting all this social credit as this like, but he's not really doing the job because he didn't
No.
make the car available, and then he ends up becoming like the richest guy in the world, and it's like,
Yeah, that's kind of galling.
they said like, oh, he's the Henry Ford of our. It's kind of funny, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're both Nazis. But the other thing is like, no, because Henry Ford actually made a car that like workers could afford.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that he recovers from this, to be honest. He just keeps doubling down on Twitter all the time,
I blocked his ass. I don't really see
Yeah.
it. I only see the tweets that like people
Yeah,
repost.
quote him.
What?
Yeah, where people quote him.
Yeah, there's screenshots of his stuff. I don't want to, like, you could like view, you could block him,
Sure.
but that's just hit view, and I could see what he tweets. It's all horrible shit. It's all
Yeah.
like he's like, oh, that's nothing. He's like, all he does is talk about DEI all the time. It's
Oh yeah.
like, dude, you're a right wing chud, dude. Don't
Yeah.
pretend that
Just
you're
let it
not.
go.
Like he had the nerve to even try to pretend like when he was interviewing when Don Lemon was interviewing him, he like tried to
I
pretend
remember,
like,
yeah.
oh, he could maybe vote for Biden, but
Just a middle of the road voter, you know?
yeah,
Just
Biden's just
trying to
giving
figure
too
out
many
what's going
reasons
on.
not to vote for him.
Yeah. Mm.
So I don't know. Tesla. And, oh, that was the thing. They'll wrap this up in a minute.
Yeah.
They laid off a shit ton of people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I meant to say that. In Texas gave them a whole bunch of money in tax incentives to come here. And
Yep.
then within like 10 months, they laid off 3,000 people in Austin.
They should, if Texas, they're not going to because he's a fellow right wing chud. But in
Rescind
theory,
those,
it
yeah.
should be like, you're paying those taxes now.
Yeah.
We gave you the tax cuts so you provide jobs to the people
Right.
that
We didn't do it just to give you tax cuts. We expected something back.
They probably won't, because again, it's like they're part of that right wing culture, and Elon's like, he's one of them.
Yeah, that was big news today in Texas, at least.
That should be a requirement. That should be like any company that moves into an area, Amazon, any of
you
those
got to
companies.
stay X number of years, provide X number of
If
jobs.
you do not provide for 5 years these workers, you will end up owing us $1 billion.
I get things change, but this was like 12 months later, so
it wasn't that long.
No, it was not that long.
And isn't it all happening so he can get his money? He's like $57 billion.
That all of this is geared towards raising revenue so he can justify getting that money back.
And again, it's like these people on the board are like in a cult or something, because they're the ones working to get him that, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's super fucking weird.
Yeah, it is. I don't know.
Well, last thing, actually, because you brought that up, did you hear about fucking Zaslav, David Zaslav? Speaking of another
no, I mean, I know who that is, but no, is there
the
something
WB
new?
thing? Okay,
Yes.
so he's getting like, he got like some, let me look it up exactly.
I did, like his bonus package.
Yeah, like 50-60 million dollars, something crazy. Like,
yeah, I read this.
Chump change compared to what fucking Elon Musk is getting.
Yeah, but
so overall, Zaslav's compensation include
he got this from like tanking good projects.
Yes, Zaslav receives $50 million for leading struggling Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah.
Now, why did he get $50 million? He didn't get it because they're performing great and they got all these amazing hits and all that shit, and he's done all these great things. It's because they canned a bunch of fucking movies and products.
Yeah.
That shit. It's so gross. That guy should be like fucking removed. That should be illegal.
Yeah.
That should be. He's like,
those
it's like
are
anything.
terrible.
You know, if we're gonna be told like, oh, if you do well and everything, you'll get a raise at work, or if you do well, you'll get a bonus in the end of the year. That's how it should be treated with this fucking guy too. Oh, did you have any hits this year? Did you produce anything? How are the streaming numbers for Max? How's this? Oh, they actually suck. Well, then you don't get a fucking bonus, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, you wish someone would ask him that in the moment.
They're all in on it, so that, like all the people up top are all in on it.
Yeah, that's true.
They're the ones that are all going to benefit. They're not going to like all of a sudden say, "Hey, that's wrong."
Right.
They're going to be like, "Hey, that's
do
crazy.
It more.
Wait, I don't have to actually do anything. I just have to like throw some properties into it. Like, you know what's okay? This is the most insane part. So the Batgirl movie got fucking flamed out or whatever.
Yep.
That probably would have been mediocre at best. From what I've heard, it would have been like a whatever. I don't know if it'd be the worst thing we ever saw, but it was definitely not going to be the best thing. I heard the plot and everything. It was pretty corny. Whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's still kind of lame and weird. I thought maybe another reason they used it as an excuse was this is not the direction we're doing with DC. We don't want to, I don't know. It sounded like a bunch of bullshit.
Sure. Yeah.
but the Acme one is the one
Oh
that's
yeah, the
most
coyote.
egregious.
Yeah.
Because that one got like great remarks.
Yep.
Anyone who saw it said it was like, and it's like Looney Tunes is the Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
and Goofy of the WB. Why would you
Right.
not? It would be in the interest of the company to put out a good product that would help extend the brand life of these
Yeah.
cartoon characters. I would open the doors to more licensing, more growth, and he fucking shit cans it so he
Yeah.
can get his money. So how is this good for the future of that company?
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously that's yeah, it doesn't make sense that it's
I mean,
good
I
for the
guess
future of
they've
the company.
I don't know, I think they've got a ton of ratings from that hit piece they did on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that was
But
a popular project. Uh I don't know. It's so hard to tell, like in areas like that, like what is, to what extent are they trying to put out good product versus to what extent are they trying to make money?
well, he
And it's
doesn't need
always
to
that they
put
want
out
to
a good
make money.
product. He doesn't need to do anything.
Yeah.
All I say is if you were if you were like working on a project or
Mhm.
whatever like that, the last place I would want to bring it to is fucking WB
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
him. And that's
Right.
why like I know James Gunn has this plan to do all this stuff.
Right.
We're getting Creature Commandos in the end of the year, a
Oh yeah,
cartoon.
yeah.
That's the first one. And then we're getting Superman like next summer.
Yeah.
But like, do you trust a company that has a guy like that in charge to like
Yeah.
nurture and grow a franchise like that? I don't. I don't
It's
believe that.
yeah, it seems like real ambiguous. You know what I mean? Like you should have firmer plans.
No, I mean they have tons of plans. I'm saying that I wouldn't trust him or people like that to
Oh
like make sure that's gonna happen. They have
yeah.
tons of plans. They have it all mapped out. They have all the movies mapped out. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust him.
Yeah.
Zaslav.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't either. I don't know. I don't know how
Do
they're
we
gonna
need to put
sell
out
it.
this Batman movie?
Right.
That's when I would say, okay, you're not putting out a Batman movie. This guy needs to be like
Yeah.
removed
What are we
immediately.
even doing here? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
like that's like your number one property, and I don't know. That guy's gross. That
Yes,
picture,
he's
yeah.
been so terrible for
Someone posted a thing, and I said like, "Oh, this." She was like, "Oh, they're all like that." I'm like,
I
this
don't
one
know, man.
is specifically like he's like the Steinbrenner or something
Yeah.
of like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something like really egregious about him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Well, on that note, buy us a coffee. The link is in our
Oh yeah.
caption. If you liked what you heard, click on that link and buy us a coffee. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
That.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day. Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.